It's been a trip seared forever into the brain's scrapbook. The sights and sounds of a land previously thought of but never seen remains fresh. A new entry into forever. A different culture morphed into America's pastime as the AL East meets the Far East, with the bond of baseball serving as the connector. New faces and old customs coming together to open the season in a different style, a memorably picture-perfect setting. Yesterday had the makings of a far from foreign start as the Yankees got the hits and then made the plays for which they seemed predestined, but promised jet lag behind performance as the euphoria of opening day was hammered away to a profound disappointment. Today, a chance to make a long trip home seem a lot shorter. Well, it's getaway day for the Yankees and the Devil Rays. That means you wear a suit, you play a game, you get on a plane, and you're back in the United States, at least for the Yankees. For the Devil Rays, I guess the dress code's a little different. New York Yankees baseball in Japan is brought to you in part by Ricoh. How well do you print, copy, scan, fax? How well do you share? Today, the Yes Network presents New York Yankees baseball. The defending American League champion New York Yankees take on the Tampa Bay Devil Rays in the second game of this two-game set from the Tokyo Dome in Tokyo, Japan. Ohio gozaimasu, everybody. Good morning from Tokyo, along with Ken Singleton and Joe Girardi. I'm Michael Kay. Well, the first game of the season, it went in favor of the Devil Rays. They beat the Yankees 8-3. And the interesting thing is, in this game right now, Kevin Brown is going to find out what it means to be a Yankee. Because, Joe, it's a pretty important game from what you hear from people.
This is really important. With an 8,000-mile flight looming, this is really important. That flight becomes a lot longer if Kevin Brown doesn't win today. Also, he wants to make a big impression on his teammates. It's really important. With a hard sinker, a hard four-seamer also, and with a great forkball, it's important that he neutralizes the left-handed hitters. With no left-handed pitchers in this lineup in the starting five, he has to be the lefty in this starting five. He has to neutralize Aubrey Huff, Constantino Martinez, and Jose Cruz Jr.
And he's done it in the past, as you can see from his resume. He's 3 wins away from 200. When he is healthy, he's an absolute stud. Now, one of the things that he's going to really need, obviously, is the ability to deal with Tino Martinez. Yesterday, the Yankee pitching simply could not do it. Tino turned back the clock, Kenny.
He certainly did. His all-around skills were on display last night at the Tokyo Dome against his former team, the New York Yankees. First of all, defensively, taking a hit away from Enrique Wilson. Then he did it with the bat against Mike Messina. Hanging curveball ripped into the corner for a 2-base hit. Tino was not finished. Later on in the game, off Felix Heredia, a 2-run home run. Tino had a big night. That was his 300th career home run. 3 for 3 last night. The 5th ex-Yankee to home run on opening day against the Yankees. And a career against the Yankees, great numbers, 333, 16 home runs, and 39 RBIs. So he likes facing the pinstripes. Today's full pitching matchup brought to you by Infinity, makers of the QX56. Kevin Brown going for the Yankees with his sinker of renown. 14-9 last year, an excellent ERA, 2.39. Jeremy Gonzalez, the often injured right-hander, gets a start for the Devil Rays. He was 6-11, 1-1 against the Yankees a year ago.
And once again, all eyes on Yankees Godzilla, and we find out that he is actually very much human.
Yankees M.
I'm sorry.
Yankees M. Devil Rays on yes.
New York Yankees baseball is brought to you in part by Samsung, bringing digital technology together for an easier, richer, more enjoyable life. And by Continental Airlines, the official airline of the New York Yankees. Well, the long trip for the Yankees and the Devil Rays about 3 hours from coming to a close. The Devil Rays took the first game of this 2-game set, 8-3, last night right here at the Tokyo Dome, and this is the series finale and the trip finale as Kevin Brown will go up against Jeremy Gonzalez. Many in the media are certainly looking at this as a must-win for the Yankees. This was not a must pitch. Famous kabuki actor here in Japan, Kankuro Nakamura, threw out the first pitch to Brooke Fordyce. That's not going to be as important as the pitch by Jeremy Gonzalez, and then the subsequent pitches by Kevin Brown. We spoke about this just a little bit on the pregame. Alex Rodriguez made his debut as a Yankee yesterday, picked up a double. But, Joe, are we getting a little bit ahead of ourselves? Is this an important game? Is this a must-win?
I think it's important for Kevin Brown, for him to do well and make a good impression and to try to fit into this Yankee starting rotation. He's always been the leader of a rotation, expected to be the #1 guy. Here he's not supposed to be the #1. He's #2 in the rotation, but they really need him to pitch well tonight and get a win before they go home.
Now, we've always heard this, Kenny, about games that are on the West Coast, Seattle, and the teams on the East Coast. Is it important to get a win before you take that long flight? Does the flight seem longer if you lose?
It's not as easy. Let's put it this way. It's going to be a long flight one way or another, but you do get back to where your destination, where you started, in a better frame of mind if you win a ball game. And I think the Yankees are looking forward to tonight. Kevin Brown, I think Joe is right. But one thing Kevin Brown has to prove to this Yankee club, because he hasn't done it here yet, is that he can pick up a team following a loss. They lose a ball game, and they can count on him to pitch a good game following a loss.
And there's never really any doubt about Kevin Brown if he's healthy, because Kevin Brown has certainly proven in the past that if he gives you 33 to 35 starts, he is going to be, if not the #1, definitely the #2 pitcher on your staff. He's won World Series before. He's pitched in big games before. And with the Yankees losing David Wells, Roger Clemens, and Andy Pettitte, getting Kevin Brown is expected to fill part of that role.
Yeah, they're expecting him to make 32 starts and make 32 quality starts. You know, he's always been a guy that's reliant on a sinker, but he can throw up to 95, 96 miles an hour and keep lefties honest inside. He's going to throw a lot of sinkers and a lot of splitties to the lefties, but he has a cutter that he's able to run in on left-handers, and he can throw the sinker at their hip and strike them out in the inside corner. So this is really important.
Now, the Yankees, at least some of them, Mike Messina, who started yesterday, has made it very, very clear that this has not been an easy trip. The food is not readily available, especially the type that you might like. He said he's been sitting in the room having peanut butter sandwiches. The TV certainly is not in English. But Joe Torre said something very smart. Susan Waldman reported in our pregame show. It's a business trip, Kenny, and you have to treat it like you're at a job.
Yeah, take care of business on the way here. You had some ball games to play. You go out and play your best, and hopefully you win some games. I think that you've got to be aware of what's going to happen before you even get out here. And this is going to be a difficult trip. Everybody knew it before, when they got on the plane in Tampa. This was not going to be easy. You're kind of out of your element. And some guys can't deal with it as well as others. And you got to make the best adjustments as you can. Mike Messina doesn't seem to be one of those players that can do it.
As they do the ceremonial tosses of the baseballs into the stands, we'll give you the Yankees starting lineup presented by Rico. And it's a little bit different than yesterday's lineup, and we will detail that as we move along. The shortstop, Derek Jeter, leads off, batting second, and playing left field, Hideki Matsui. A-Rod, Alex Rodriguez in his second Yankee game. He'll be the third baseman. He'll bat third. Batting cleanup and DHing tonight. Honestly, Jason Giambi has had a tough time at first base here in the Tokyo Dome. The 2 exhibition games and last night as well. So Jason is the DH tonight, batting cleanup. He has great numbers lifetime against Tampa Bay. Gary Sheffield 2 for 2 last night in his first game as a Yankee. He'll be in right field batting 5th. Batting 6th and catching Jorge Posada. Tony Clark takes over slot in the lineup that Ruben Sierra had yesterday as a DH. Tony Clark, a better defender than Jason Giambi, will play first. Batting 8th and playing second base, Enrique Wilson. And the #9 hitter for the Yankees in their lineup is the center fielder, Kenny Lofton.
All right, how about that? Joe Torre has picked up the customs of the Far East, at least with his #2 hitter. Jeremy Gonzalez, 29-year-old right-hander, 25 starts a year ago, 6-11, 3.91. You can see he gave up less than a hit per inning. Home runs, they're up there. 69 walks, 97 strikeouts. Here's your Yes Scouting report on Jeremy Gonzalez. He's good at holding the fort. The league only hit .209 against him with runners in scoring position, and he's the one who put the whammy on Sammy. On June 3rd, it was his pitch that broke Sammy Sosa's bat in Chicago at Wrigley Field, and Corp went flying everywhere. Sammy got in big trouble after that, and he is a painfully slow worker. Michael will like that.
Well, the game will be manageable then. Or not. Derek Jeter will dig in. And we are ready for baseball here at the Tokyo Dome. Jeter and A-Rod combined 1 for 9 yesterday in the season opener, and Jeter fouls off the first pitch. Jeter has said, and he hasn't complained about it, and he hasn't said it publicly, but he has said it to people, that he has been unable to sleep here in Japan. Yesterday's game, he said he had never been more exhausted before that game. Again, he did not say that publicly to the media, but I have heard from people that he did say that he has been unable to sleep while here in the Far East. And a lot of players are having that difficulty with the jet lag. And from what we hear, on the way back, it's even tougher.
Yeah, for me, it was tougher when I was with the Cubs and we made this trip. And it took about 5 or 6 days to get back on schedule.
Look out.
Well, the Devil Rays led the American League in hit batters last year, and Jeremy Gonzalez plunks Derek Jeter, and Jeter will take first.
Usually it's Victor Zambrano who's hitting some batters, but tonight it's Jeremy Gonzalez. Just above the elbow, and man, that hurts. The bad thing about it for Gonzalez, he's put a speedy runner aboard.
Hideki Matsui gets a warm hand. And Jeter gets ready at first base, standing with his buddy Tino Martinez. The two of them were extremely close when Tino was a member of the Yankees. Still close now. Derek lives during the offseason in Tampa, where Tino also lives. Flashballs popping as Matsui gets ready, takes the ball.
Well, Matsui had the first hit of the baseball season last night. They doubled in the gap in right center, and he is so consistent. 287 against lefties last year, 287 against right-handers. I mean, right on the money.
Now, Matsui obviously loves this country. This is where he's from, but he might be happy when he gets on that plane tonight. He has been a prisoner in his own home. He cannot go anywhere here in Japan, and you can see people are constantly taking pictures of him. People are constantly following him. They want to write everything that he does, and he pretty much has to stay home every moment of the day. And he has a little bit more freedom in the United States.
It's very similar to when you go to your hometown and play a game. For example, if you play in New York and you live in Chicago and you go play at home in Chicago, the demands are very great, but you could probably multiply it times 100 for him.
And he did his job while he was with the Yomiuri Giants. Doing his job with the Yankees, he hits a line drive to Cruz, who makes the catch. And Jeter scampers back to first. So Hideki Matsui looks like his swing is down. In the exhibition games, he was locked in. And yesterday, he got the first base hit, like Kenny mentioned.
Hit that ball right on the nose, too. Maybe a little overspin on it, and went right to Cruz. Hit like a bullet.
And captured forever on film.
One thing Matsui did do while he was here, though, he stayed at the hotel with the team. He has an apartment here. And I thought that was... well, that shows you what kind of teammate he is. He wants to be around the rest of the guys.
Here's A-Rod. Struck out his first time up as a Yankee, and then a second time as well, but doubled to right field in the 6th inning and scored the Yankees' 3rd and final run. The numbers there that made him the reigning American League MVP. Joe Torre explained after the game that Alex Rodriguez was so anxious he was flying open the first 2 at-bats. He said, but the impressive thing was that he was able to make adjustments. He said that's what makes him great.
Well, he only had 4 hits against the Devil Rays last year, but 2 of them were home runs.
The 1-0. Grounded foul outside of third. There's got to be a level of anxiousness. He said that yesterday's opening day was his biggest opening day other than the one when he broke into the major leagues with the Mariners. He said being in pinstripes just makes you feel like a kid. He goes, and I was very, very excited.
Well, for Alex, I think it's difficult, too, because he doesn't want to step on Derek Jeter's team in his sense. And I told him, we had a little talk in spring training, that it's very important that he's Alex Rodriguez.
Ground ball at third, fielded by Rolls. He goes the second one on to first, and around the horn, 5-4-3, double play. So Jeter gets forced out at second, and Alex Rodriguez ends the inning, and now it is time for Kevin Brown's first Yankee pitch. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left. Yankees don't score in the top of the first. Tampa Bay coming to bat. A lot of Yankee fans at the Tokyo Dome. In fact, 55,000 people here yesterday, most of them rooting for the Yankees. And the Yankees are very much a part of Japan life because of the fact that all of their games are televised nationally throughout this country. Let's take a look at the Devil Rays starting lineup presented by Rico. Carl Crawford, the left fielder, will lead off. Batting second and playing third base, Damian Rolls. Rocco Baldelli, the center fielder, will hit third. Batting cleanup and DHing, Aubrey Huff. Jose Cruz Jr. is in right field. He'll bat fifth. Batting sixth and playing first base, Constantino Martinez. Great numbers lifetime against the Yankees. Obviously, all of that with the Seattle Mariners and a couple of games with the Cardinals last year. Julio Lugo, the shortstop, will bat seventh. Batting eighth and catching, Toby Hall. Ray Sanchez will play second base, and he will bat ninth.
Kevin Brown a year ago for the Los Angeles Dodgers, 14-9, a spectacular ERA 2.39. Look at that. 184 hits in 211 innings. He is tough to hit. Only 11 home runs, 56 walks, 185 strikeouts. Here's our scouting report on Kevin Brown. You know he's got to be rooting for the Yellow Jackets. Went to Georgia Tech. They're in the Final Four. Good for them. He's beaten every team in the major leagues. This is his first time he will pitch against Devil Rays, and he's got a great sinking fastball.
And he deals to Carl Crawford, and the pitch is low. The only pitcher active in baseball today that has beaten all 30 teams, the New York Mets left-hander Al Leiter. So Kevin Brown can join him. Crawford yesterday was 0 for 5 in the season opener. There's a ground ball through the left side for a base hit. So Crawford now will get set to run. Take a look at the Yankees defensively. Matsui's in left, Lofton in center, and Sheffield over and right. In the infield, you've got A-Rod at third, Derek Jeter at short, and Enrique Wilson plays second. Tony Clark at first base today, and Jorge Posada behind the plate with Kevin Brown on the mound.
Carl Crawford was the only starter yesterday for the Devil Rays who did not get a hit in the game. There's always one guy, Joe, when you have a big hitting night who doesn't get the invitation to the party. Crawford took care of that tonight. He's got the first dance.
Kevin Brown's going to have to watch him because this kid can really run. And Kevin has been known to give you a high leg kick and not give you much of a chance to throw. So he's probably going to try to mix up his looks. They might even pitch out here if the situation calls for it.
Damian rolls one foul.
Crawford led the league in stolen bases with 55. He set a club record. Broke Jason Tyner's record of 31 back in 2001. And Damian Rolls looking down at the third base coach Tom Foley to see if you would think that Crawford would be on his own. There's no sign.
Well, I would think they would let him prove that he knows what he's doing, and maybe if he starts running in situations.
There he is going, and no throw is made as Posada bobbled the ball. So stolen base for Crawford, his first stolen base of the year.
If he starts running in situations where Lou doesn't think it's a good idea, they'll put a hold on for a pitch or maybe two pitches until it gets an account that's in his favor.
There he goes, explosive speed. I mean, they do have some people who can run. Rolls can run very well, and so can Baldelli, who follows him. Jorge not able to handle that sinking fastball.
Swing and a miss as Rolls goes down on strikes, and that's Brown's first Yankee strikeout.
One of the things that Kevin should be able to do against this free swinging club is he should be able to expand the strike zone. And, you know, these guys don't take a lot of strikes. The first strike they see, they're usually swinging at, trying to put the ball in play. And with the type of stuff that he has and the type of movement, balls are going to appear to be strikes, and they're going to break out of the zone. And he should be able to expose that on the Devil Rays.
That looked like a splitter. And it's one way with a hitter like Baldelli, you could expose him as well. He's going to be up there hacking away. He only had 30 walks last year.
Runner on second base.
Strikeout can neutralize things on the bases. The runners do not advance. Watch for Crawford with one out. He might be thinking about third base.
Is there a point in a matchup like this? Crawford's very quick, but he's not going to score unless somebody gets a base hit. But you have to walk out and say, don't worry about him, pay more attention to the batter.
Well, if there's two outs, you can say that. But if there's only one out and he steals third, he can obviously score on a number of different ways. So they're going to watch him closely.
Almost got him.
Now, if you're Crawford at second, you're probably thinking they're not going to try to get me 3 times in a row. This might be the time where he actually takes off. There's the throw to second. I'll tell you what, you lead the league in stolen bases, you get an awful lot of attention the next year.
And you could see in his first time catching Kevin Brown in a regular season game, Posada struggling a little bit with that heavy ball.
Yeah, you know, it's difficult because this ball does move all over the place, and you're not sure. Sometimes you might call a sinker, and it might cut a little bit, and it's going to handcuff you. And the other thing is Kevin quickened up his pace to home plate there, almost slid step, and it might have surprised Georgia.
Popped up right side, backing up is Enrique Wilson, coming in as Sheffield. Sheffield calls him off, 2-away. Crawford remains at second with 2 outs.
Now here's a situation he shouldn't really worry too much about Carl Crawford, because it does take a hit to score. And with Aubrey Huff, you got an open base, you can pitch around him. Kevin needs to make him hit his pitch.
Joe said on the pregame show that it's important for Kevin Brown to be, quote, the left-hander in the rotation this year, because with his array of pitches, he should be able to neutralize left-handers, and you don't need a Pettit or a Wells to have lefty against lefty. And here's his first real test against Aubrey Huff.
His sinker at times is almost going to act like Andy Pettit's cutter. It's going to break away. It's going to be sharp. And even a splitty can act like that sometimes, too. So he's got a couple of pitches that are going to dive out of the zone that will act like a left-hander slider.
A lot of that happens because of his delivery and his arm angle. The way he kind of slots that arm and kind of almost 3/4, almost to sidearm, and that makes the ball sink.
Right-handers last year against Kevin Brown when he was with the Dodgers at 219. Left-handers at 254. He'd like to bring the left-handed number down just a bit.
And then you see some right-handers around the league. The left-handed hitters are pounding them at 300 plus.
Line drive to right field. That is going to be a base hit. Charging is Sheffield. Here comes Crawford. Here's the throw. Here's the play. Crawford's in there. An RBI single for Huff. And Tampa Bay leads 1-0.
Well, he tried to double up with 2 cutters in a row, and Aubrey Huff made the adjustment after the first one, and it's not really a bad idea. He doesn't want to give him anything to hit, but Aubrey Huff's a very good hitter.
Plus the fact that Carl Crawford, third base coach Tom Foley, did not hesitate. Crawford, one of the faster players in the league. There aren't many guys who would have scored on this. I mean, it was a one-hop, good throw to the plate, but Crawford, too much speed, able to score from second base, and there he is, off with the crack of the bat with 2 outs, and he's thinking one thing: I get paid to score runs. He almost stumbled, but still makes it home to give the Devil Rays a 1-0 lead.
Here's Jose Cruz Jr., a home run in yesterday's game. And there a slow ground ball to second base. Wilson over to Clark, and that'll do it here in the first inning. But the Devil Rays take the lead. 1 run, 2 hits, no errors, and 1 man left. We played 1 here at the Tokyo Dome. 1-0 Devil Rays. Top of the second inning here at the Tokyo Dome. Yankees against the Devil Rays. Tampa Bay leads 1-0. Jason Giambi set to lead off, and the Tampa Bay Devil Rays in their shift. 3 infielders on the right side of the infield. Damian Rolls the only one on the left side. Much more dramatic than yesterday. Damian Rolls was closer to the line yesterday, but now he's almost playing near second base.
I think that's an indication of the styles of the pitchers. Zambrano throwing much harder than Jeremy Gonzalez, so Rolls playing a little bit more up the middle.
Giambi yesterday, 2 hits, a double, and a home run. Ground ball foul.
The other thing it tells you, they're probably going to pitch him inside more than outside after he hit the 2-run homer to left center and the double with 2 pitches away. They're going to pitch him inside tonight and see how he reacts.
That was in the first inning, a home run over the left center field wall, and gave the Yankees a 2-0 lead, which was short-lived. You might notice that Jason is the DH tonight, and the official explanation is that his knee is barking just a bit after 3 games on the turf. But if you've watched the 3 games, Jason has honestly struggled at first base, and they get a better glove in the person of Tony Clark playing first. Jason definitely has to tighten up the defense. He's going to be playing first base a lot more this year, and again, he has really struggled in this series. There's a ground ball to the second baseman, Sanchez. Away.
Well, a lot of times, too, when you're playing on a turf, the surface is very hard, and you physically don't feel as well as you would playing on grass. And, you know, if his knees are bothering him a little bit, he's not going to be able to move around as well as he would be maybe at Yankee Stadium. So it's a day just to give him a little bit of rest and not beat up his knees.
Plus the fact there's a long flight after this game, and, you know, another night on the turf, and he can tighten up between here and Tampa.
There's Gary Sheffield. His Yankee debut yesterday was perfect. 2 for 2 with 2 walks. And the 2 base hits would lead you to believe that he's got luck on his side, at least at the start of the year. A slow roller to third base hit, a check swing double, and an RBI down the right field line. And to hit 330, you need a couple of days like the one he had yesterday.
When you're a good hitter, things like that happen. You know, if you're not a guy that puts the ball in play, he doesn't strike out a lot. And that's one of the advantages of not striking out very much, that he's going to put balls in play and get hits just like that.
And he's very selective for a guy who has power numbers, and the way he waggles the bat, he does walk an awful lot. Along with Joe Girardi and Ken Singleton, I'm Michael Kay, and we thank you for joining us this moment on this morning on the Yes Network as the Yankees play the second game of the 2004 season.
Does he have the green light? 3-0. No.
I would think that he had the green light. Just with his discipline, I'm sure Joe's not ever going to really, not give Gary Sheffield the green light.
There's a scouting report on Sheffield. He does have unbelievable bat speed despite the fact he's 36. There's a grounded at third. Damian Rolls fields a long throw. Two-way.
Catcher, number 20, Jorge Posada.
That'll bring up Posada.
Here's a look at Damian Rolls. Now, he's a very versatile player. We've seen him in right field, left field, second base, but this year he seems to be locked in at third base. Here's Sheffield coming out of the box, sees the high hop. You think you have a chance, but Rolls has a strong arm.
Gary's going to get on me. I made him 1 year older. He's 35.
Oh, well.
When you get up there, you don't want those years tacked on for no reason.
Yeah, tell me about it.
One of the things that you also do is you shave a lot more, and you probably get your hair cut a lot shorter so the grays don't show up.
So that's the reason for that haircut.
Dyeing your hair is not, cheap.
Gonzalez early in the going here, and you can see Toby Hall out on the mound talking to him because he's thrown a number of pitches in the dirt. Maybe he just can't get locked in. And he doesn't seem to be too happy at the moment, despite the fact he's gotten 2 ground ball outs and there's nobody on with Posada at the plate. It is deathly quiet in here, isn't it?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yesterday it was fairly loud.
Yeah.
I thought it was louder yesterday than it was for the 2 exhibition games, but today it does seem like a tea party in here.
Well, after, 5 games in 3 days, the fans got to be getting tired at the Tokyo Dome.
Ground ball at third. Check that to Ray Sanchez at second, and that'll be the third out of the inning. So a 1-2-3 inning for Jeremy Gonzalez. One of the main attractions here in Tokyo is the Tsukiji Fish Market. 5 a.m. all the restaurants in the city buy their fish here, and then after that everybody has sushi. So good. Tino Martinez replaced Don Mattingly, and they are together in a ballpark for the first time yesterday at the same time. In the last 3 generations of Yankee first baseman, Mattingly beget Tino, beget Jason Giambi. There's a lot of talent in that picture right there. A lot of good Yankee first basemen, and Tino takes a strike. Tino had a good day yesterday, 3 for 3. And you can see first base has been covered nicely by the Yankees. 14 seasons for Mattingly, 6 for Tino. And Jason Giambi entering his third. And they finally retire Tino Martinez with a ground ball to first.
Example of that good sinking fastball of Kevin Brown's. Tino, all he could do was just top it.
Well, they made some mistakes yesterday with the slow breaking balls to Tino, and then the one fastball, that Tino got on top of from Felix Heredia, a fastball out over the plate and up. And I'm sure the game plan is much, much different tonight with Tino Martinez.
In that graphic, you saw that Tino Martinez, 6 years with the Yankees. The most important part of that graphic is that in those 6 years, he won 4 world titles. And that's the most important statistic of all. Here's Julio Lugo, and the pitch is a strike.
Tino was loved by his teammates. I mean, everyone knew that Tino was professional and he was very intense. And I know there were a lot of players that were sorry to see Tino go.
It was a tough decision for the Yankees. They felt Jason Giambi, coming off a second-place finish as an MVP, and then an MVP before that, was the guy to go to, and Tino was a free agent. Tino, one of 6 players that are active right now that have had 4 rings during the Joe Torre era. And he wears those rings proudly. He's probably going to get a ring with the Devil Rays, but Lou Piniella said, I don't want Tino to hit 300. He doesn't have to hit 30 home runs. He doesn't have to drive in 100 runs. I want him here for what he can bring to the clubhouse and teach them how to win.
Tino's expected to teach these young kids what it takes to be a winner. You know, a lot of these guys have never had a shot to win because they've been with Tampa Bay. They were brought up through the Tampa Bay organization. And Tino's been a part of winner in Seattle, a part of a winner in New York. And his job is to teach him how to win, how to prepare, and how to be very professional.
And for Tino, he gets a chance to play home.
This has to be the easiest replacement for Tino. When he came over from Seattle to New York, he had to replace Donnie. And then he had to replace Mark McGwire in St. Louis.
Swing and a miss, and Julio Lugo goes down on strikes. This time he's replacing Travis Lee.
Good movement on the fastball by Kevin Brown. He gets it over the outside corner. Lugo. Oh, man, look at that thing. You think you have it lined up, and all of a sudden it just drops underneath the bat. That's what made Kevin Brown so hard to hit over the. Every pitch is going some which way and that, and got some good stuff on it as well.
Pitch to Toby Hall is outside. In fact, over the last 8 seasons, Kevin Brown has a 2.60 ERA. That's the second lowest ERA in baseball over that span. Number 1 was Pedro Martinez at 2.40.
The only straight pitch you're going to see from Kevin Brown is an occasional four-seamer that he's going to elevate to try to get a hitter to chase it out of the zone. So, you know, all these Devil Ray hitters, they have to be patient and try to make him get the ball up in the zone, or the ball's going to dive low, you know, below their knees, and it's going to be tough to hit.
The 2-0. Grounded foul. One thing I've noticed about Kevin Brown, and you guys could tell me if you think of anybody else, I've never seen a pitcher who has more muscular arms, more defined arms. He's like a weightlifter, the size of his arms. Usually pitchers don't want to get that much bulk.
He's like a number 4 hitter. Is that what you're saying? Like
absolutely.
A cleanup hitter, yeah.
Look at those guns.
He's just well put together, that's all.
He works very, very hard. And the count 2-1 is grounded foul.
Now, here we go. Toby Hall is one of the tougher hitters in the league to strike out. You got Kevin Brown, one of the toughest pitchers to hit with good movement. Who's going to win this battle? It's 2-2.
So far, he's thrown him a sinker away that he's grounded foul. Now he just threw one in on his hands that, you know, he got in on inside on. He's got him set up for a breaking ball away or a splitting.
And the 2-2. Line drive down the left field line. It is a fair ball and into the corner. Toby Hall will round first. He'll go to second. Matsui gets the ball in, so a 2-out double by Toby Hall.
Yeah, Toby Hall won that battle because he tried to get in on him once again. I think Joe was right. Set up out, you throw something away from him, you might get him. Toby Hall's bat was sped up with all the pitches inside. He come in there again, and he's ready this time. Drills it into the left field corner for a 2-base hit. Toby Hall had 3 hits here yesterday. He's off to a pretty good start. That ball ricochet around him.
So runner in scoring position for the Devil Rays with 2 outs, and that'll bring up Ray Sanchez. Brown wants a new baseball, doesn't like the feel on that one. Brown came to the Yankees in a trade with the Dodgers. Yankees sent Jeff Weaver, who was really a disappointment in the Bronx. And they sent Jeff Weaver to L.A. And the Dodgers sent the Yankees Kevin Brown.
Ray Sanchez is the type of hitter that likes to hit the ball the other way, but he likes the ball closer to him because he feels it's easier for him to manipulate and hit the ball the other way. So in a sense, it kind of eliminates Kevin Brown's sinker inside him. So Kevin's going to have to throw a lot of breaking balls. If he does come inside, he should come in off the plate.
Ground ball off the glove of Kevin Brown, going to be a tough play. Fielded by A-Rod, he holds on to it. So a base hit for Sanchez as Hall moves to third. That's probably an easy out if Kevin Brown doesn't redirect the ball. Derek Jeter was moving to the left, but it's just a reaction play.
Even more easier if he comes up with it cleanly. But he's going to have to work a little harder to get the final out of this inning. Now he has runners in the corners with 2 down and facing Carl Crawford. Well, there's the deflection. A-Rod moving in the other direction, now comes up with the ball, but no play as Ray Sanchez comes up with the infield single. So he got the first 2 outs. Looked like it was going to be an easy inning for Kevin Brown. It's followed by a double and now an infield hit.
And the pitch to Crawford's outside. Crawford led off the first inning with a single right, stole second, then scored on an Aubrey Huff single to right. And that is the run on the board right now. Tampa Bay 1-0 over the Yanks.
Yeah, the base hit and then the steal. The Devil Rays stole 15 bases against the Yankees last year. That was the most allowed by the Yanks against any team. And you expect a guy like Crawford to pick up a few of those. He was 6 for 6 against the Yankees last year.
When you face Tampa Bay, you don't, it's a club that doesn't have to hold anything back. They know they're not going to probably be in the pennant race. Lou's going to do different things to find out what his players can do. The first year over there, probably going to hit and run a lot last year. They probably stole a lot of bases, and they'll do the same to create offense here.
They're aggressive. Once they get out there, they're going to try and make things happen.
Well, Brown is now in a 3-0 hole to call Crawford. Damian Rolls was on deck. He walks Crawford, who hardly ever walks. He had about a .305 on base percentage last year. Bases are loaded. That one right down the middle, and Crawford taking all the way.
Kevin Brown knows that he doesn't have to give in here, though. With his type of stuff, he doesn't have to give in. And even though it's second base, he knows that there's still an open base with a right-handed hitter coming up. And his sinker is very, very hard on right-handed hitters.
Ground ball right side. Enrique Wilson gobbles it up, and that'll do it as Brown works out of trouble. For the Devil Rays in the second, no runs, 2 hits, and 2 men left. We've played 2 full. It's 1-0 Tampa Bay. Last time the Yankees as a team made the trek to Japan was back in 1955, and boy, did they bring over the stars. Mickey Mantle, Whitey Ford, all the champion Yankees. Mickey Mantle celebrated his 24th birthday here in front of Casey Stengel. Yogi Berra's made 5 trips to Japan, and they all enjoyed it. They enjoyed it so much they were 15-0-1. They played in 5 surrounding countries. They drew a total of 478,000 fans in one game, drew 64,000 fans in Osaka. You both played in Japan. You played regular season games here, Joe. Did you enjoy it?
Oh, I found it very enjoyable. It's a lot of fun to come to a country that you've never been to and have an opportunity to play in front of their fans. And the fans really get into baseball here, and I enjoyed it very much.
And you were 4 for 9 in that series against the Mets.
That's one of the reasons I enjoyed it very much.
Well, people wonder when baseball was actually introduced to Japan. It was way back in 1872. There was an American teacher named Horace Wilson who taught the game to a group of students, which actually turned out to be Tokyo University years later. And Horace and it grew from that. They went out and started playing on the playgrounds here, and then when the Yankees got here in 1934 with Babe Ruth, they had the Tokyo All-Stars to play those guys.
And that was the year that the Yomiuri Giants were formed. Here's Tony Clark, and there's a strike, so Clark's down in the count 0-2.
So if it wasn't for old Horace, we might not be here now.
Horace and lefty O'Doul are the 2 Americans that are in the Japanese Baseball Hall of Fame. The 0-2. And that happens to be located right here in this ballpark.
I think that where he introduced the game and started explaining to the students, there is an actual plaque there at the site where he explained the game to those students at what later turned out to be Tokyo University.
Swing and a miss, and Tony Clark down on strikes. A lot of Yankee memorabilia happens to rest here in the Japanese Baseball Hall of Fame here in the Tokyo Dome, and that's from the Yankee trips, the one in 1955. And a lot of Yankees made part of all-star trips. Sadaharu O's uniform, 868 home runs. That's professional baseball's all-time career record, and it's a beautiful facility that they have within this facility, the Tokyo Dome. Here's Enrique Wilson, and there's a sharp ground ball to second. Sanchez, 2-way.
One thing the Yankees are going to find out, and I think the rest of the league will as well, is the Devil Rays have as solid as infield defense as any team in the league. You got to remember, they play on artificial surface at Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, and with Rolls and Lugo and Sanchez and Tito Martinez, they have some solid gloves in that infield.
Kenny Lofton digs in. Lofton batting 9th again. Yesterday, he was 1 for 3 with a walk. The one is a triple down the left field line. His first at bat as a Yankee.
I think it's important that Kenny actually works the count here. That's what Joe wants to see him. He wants to see him getting some deep counts and have the pitcher's pitch count add up.
Lofton still not thrilled that he's not batting leadoff, and One of the reasons is here it is the third inning. This is his first at bat. He'd be on deck for a second at bat now if he was leading off. But Joe's decided off a bad spring by Kenny Lofton to move him down to the number 9 spot. Tried to get Roll sleeping at third. Usually when you drop down to 9, the next spot's not that great. I remember when Bernie Williams was just coming up with the Yankees and he was struggling, and Buck Showalter moved him to number 9, and Buck Showalter's lieutenant Brian Butterfield called in Bernie and said, "Bernie, you know what the next spot is, right? Bench." Hot shot, ground ball, base hit through the right side of the infield. So Lofton is trying to move up in that lineup.
But Kenny also has to remember that's a lot different than hitting 9th in the American League and the National League. You know, when you hit it in the bottom of the order, the National League, you got the pitcher behind you. You know, he's got a lot of protection behind him with Derek Jeter coming up next. So it's really not that bad of a spot to hit. Scott Brocious drove in 98 runs for the Yankees hitting 9th. So there's going to be a lot of chances to drive in runs. He can run now. He can do a lot of different things with Derek Jeter up. Jeter hits the ball to the right field very well. So hit and run is a possibility here. So it gives the Yankees a lot of option, and Kenny just has to embrace that position right now and try to work back up to the number 1 spot.
Jeter fouls it away. In fact, when the Yankees resume play in the States on April 6th in Tampa Bay, Bernie Williams probably going to rejoin the team. And there's a chance that Kenny Lofton might move to the bench if the Yankees decide to go with Jason Giambi as a DH. Bernie Williams could be back in center field, and then you play Tony Clark at first. So Kenny Lofton's battling for playing time.
Right now he might be battling his way into scoring position. He is the all-time active stolen base leader with 538. And he had a stolen base this year. Didn't steal one in spring training. Wasn't getting on base enough.
Been on base a lot in his career. 298 lifetime hitter.
Look at those eyes checking out looking at the catcher, then at the pitcher.
He's trying to steal the signs from the catcher. A lot of catchers will just give you the thumb to throw over, or you might see him turn his wrist over to throw over to first base, or he might see a fist for a pitch out. He's trying to steal signs from Toby Hall.
And there he goes. Pitch out. Throw to second is not in time. He outran the ball and outran the pitch out. So a stolen base for Lofton, his first as a Yankee.
Stolen base number 539 for Kenny Lofton. Nice little crossover step. Means business here. He's the Cleveland Indians all-time stolen base leader. And look at Ray Sanchez trying to block that bag. Don't give him anything to touch, but he got that left hand in there. That's a veteran infielder's trick right there. Drop that knee right in front of the bag.
And you know, you can do that with impunity now, Kenny, because Kenny's a head-first slider. Yeah. If he was sliding with his feet,
yeah, you could teach him a
Ray
lesson.
Sanchez wouldn't put his knee down like that.
Ray. Oh.
The 2-1 to Jeter. There's a strike.
Ray's a smart player. Ray knows who's going to slide head first and who's not. And catchers are very similar. They know who slides head first sometimes in the home plate or slides feet first. They also know the guys are going to try to run you over, and you just have to brace yourself.
Two-two. Just missed inside. Count is full. Jeter's looking for his first base hit of 2004. 0 for 5 last night. He was hit by a pitch in the first inning.
He's used to getting his hits, that's for sure. You go to the last 5 years, only 2 players have had more hits than Derek. Todd Helton and Garrett Anderson. The much underrated Garrett Anderson.
3-2. Check swing. Did he go? They check with the first base ump. Jerry Neal says no. So Jeter walks and passes the baton, much to the delight of the crowd, to Hideki Matsui.
So far tonight, the crowd's been very, very quiet. It's the first time they've made a lot of noise. I think they're understanding that the Yankees have a chance to get on the board, but more important, Hideki can get a big hit for the Yankees.
I think they save it up for every time he comes up. Now, he was the Yankees' best hitter last year with runners in scoring position.
That's Hideki's mom and dad behind home plate. Line drive, base hit past the lunging Sanchez in the right. Here comes Lofton. Here's the throw. Here's the play. He's in there. An RBI single for Hideki Matsui. Mom and Dad like it. So do the Yankees. Game tied at 1.
Well, in the town that Hideki grew up, his dad is open like a museum for people to come and visit. You can look at Hideki's high school uniform. You can look at the equipment he used in high school. No charge.
Well, this is what the 50,000 people came to see. They came to see this guy get big hits for the Yankees, possibly hit the ball out of the ballpark, and Hideki got him on the board.
Well, the stolen base paid off for the Devil Rays in their run, and it also pays off for the Yankees. All right, Mom and Dad.
Here's Alex Rodriguez. Grounded just foul outside of third. You know, you mentioned, Kenny, how the museum does not charge admission. Now, Ichiro also has a museum, and they do charge $7 to get in, or 700 yen. And Hideki Matsui said, it simply wouldn't be right for the people. They've given me so much. Why would I charge them to go see the things that made me famous? Count 1-1. Rodriguez wrapped into a double play in the first inning.
Alex still looking for his first Yankee run batted in. 10 more. He'll have 1,000 for his career.
Alex Rodriguez, first manager in the big leagues, was Lou Piniella. That was with the Seattle Mariners. There's a ground ball left side. Tough play by Rolls. He makes it, fires across the diamond, and that will do it here in the third inning. But the Yankees tie the game 1 run, 2 hits, no errors, and 1 man left. And how apropos that the man who gets the hit is the man of the week here in Japan. Hideki Matsui with a big RBI single. We go to the bottom of the third. It's 1-1. Mom and Dad love it.
Hi, I'm Hideki Matsui. Welcome to Japan.
He knows his way around, that's for sure. Damian Rolls with a ground ball, a second, and there's one away here in the third.
One of the things that managers stress are shutdowns. And what do I mean by shutdowns? Shutdowns are when your club scores, you don't want to let the club score the following half inning. It's really important for the momentum of the game. It's really important for Kevin Brown to shut this club down this inning. Get your hitters back up there because they're starting to feel a little bit better about themselves, and maybe they can put a big inning together next inning.
Is that something, Joe, that's articulated or just understood?
It's articulated a lot to the catchers, the importance of it. Not so much to the pitchers because they try to shut teams down every inning. But George Posada knows this is a big inning for Kevin Brown, especially when you're in 2, 3, 4 hitters are coming up for Tampa Bay.
Exact opposite on the other side of the field. They just gave up a run. You saw Toby Hall and Jeremy Gonzalez. Toby Hall trying to get him back on track.
What is Hall saying there? Hey, just forget about it?
No,
it's 1 run?
Well, they're probably talking a little bit about pitch selection. Maybe they weren't happy with the pitch selection and maybe the counts that they got in. And, you know, maybe they're going to approach Hideki Matsui a little bit different. They hung him a curveball, which I'm sure Jeremy wasn't trying to do. And sometimes pitcher will over-evaluate the pitch instead of the location.
Baldelli with a ground ball to Jeter, 2 away.
I thought he was telling him, look, if you don't get him out, I'm going to hit you harder than that.
Well, Lou's notorious for jumping on the catchers when the pitchers don't do well. And he talks to the catchers about the pitch selection. And a lot of times, I believe it's not pitch selection. It's where you locate the ball. If you get a fastball up or a breaking ball up, there's a good chance a good hitter's going to put a good pass on the ball, have a good swing, and probably get a base hit. But Lou tends to be hard on the catchers instead of the pitchers.
2 down. Here's Aubrey Huff. RBI single right in the first inning.
Aubrey's one of those reliable guys that the manager doesn't have to worry about. This is his 277th consecutive game. He just write his name down in the 4th spot. You go from there.
Well, last time Kevin tried to double up with cutters inside and didn't get the second one in, and he drove in a run. And this time so far he stayed away from him with 2 sinkers.
Along with Joe Girardi and Ken Singleton, I'm Michael Kay. You're watching Yankees baseball right here on the Yes Network. We thank you for joining us so early for 2 days in a row. In fact, 3 of the last 4. We've had a great time in Japan. We hope that you've had a good time watching the games as well. It's a 1-1 game, bottom of the third. The 1-1 is grounded to second. Wilson's there. And a nice, easy 1-2-3 inning, just what Joe Girardi was talking about. 3 ground balls, 3 straight outs. We go to the 4th. It's 1-1 here on Yes. Me beat the O-Gate. You know exactly what it means. The Sadahara O-Gate. There are very few people bigger in this country than Sadahara O. 868 home runs, #1 in professional baseball. Just an unbelievable home run hitter, a huge star in this league, and now he is the manager of the Hawks, the Japanese champions that beat the Hanshin Tigers last year. You ever see him play, Kenny?
Maybe on TV years ago when, you know, back in the 50s when the likes of Ernie Banks and Willie Mays and Mickey Mantle would come over here as All-Stars and they would play the Japanese All-Stars. It was O and Shigeru Nagashima who were the 2 big stars for the Tokyo Giants. Nagashima was the 3rd baseman. O played first. I remember though they showed those games occasionally back in the States.
Giambi's worked the count 2-0. Giambi grounded to second. That was in the second. Yesterday he had 2 hits, a home run and a double, and 4 at-bats.
He's talked about Sadahara O, and Nagashima's likeness is also here at the stadium. There he is. He's promoting something on one of the boards up over right center field, and Giambi gets a hold of one. He hit it right into that glove.
And one of the customs they have here at the Dome is if you hit a board with a home run, you win what's on that board.
In fact, Mr. Nagashima was scheduled to throw out the first pitch in one of the games of this series, but he recently suffered a stroke and is hopefully feeling much better.
Giambi with a leadoff walk here in the 4th.
You can see the glove up there. Mr. Nagashima's likeness is holding it, and it is an inviting target for a powerful left-handed hitter.
I'm going to hit a ball that far. I want more than a glove.
Tony Clark hit that scoreboard. They didn't give him a scoreboard.
I think they ought to give him a big screen TV the size of that.
They really should.
Yeah.
Be tough to get it on the plane.
Except it cost him $5,000 to replace it, so there went his TV.
He knocked out 16 lights with 1 swing, but they repaired it by the next game. That was the game against the Hanshin Tigers. Gary Sheffield fouls him back.
That was Sheff's best swing in these 2 games. Here's a look at the home run by Tony Clark. Yabu gives it up. Oh, man. For 492 feet.
16 lights gone. Lights out. What was the reaction in the dugout when he hit that?
You know, it was the same reaction from the Japanese pitcher. Whoa. You know, that's the great thing about exhibition games. You know, you can laugh a little bit when things like that happen. In a real game, you're not going to laugh, but in an exhibition game, you're very surprised, and you know, he was very impressed.
You know, you mentioned Toby Hall, how Lou Pinella's tough on catchers. Toby Hall was always a very good offensive player in the minor leagues. But when he became Lou's catcher, Lou said, I don't care what you hit. He said, the most important thing you do is catch. And Toby Hall said last year it actually affected him offensively. He was so worried about defense. This year, a recommitment for him to reestablish himself as an offensive threat. How difficult is it to reconcile both, to be a good offensive player and do your job behind the plate?
Well, your first job is to save runs, and more times than not, you're going to be able to save more runs by doing your job behind the plate than you're able to drive in. And the thing about Toby Hall, I talked to Gary Tuck about him, the catching instructor for the New York Yankees, and he told me he was the most improved catcher in the American League last year. He thought he came a long ways. Before, he was very robotic. He softened up. He throws well. He blocks the ball, and that's really important when you have a young pitching staff, that a catcher can do his job.
3-1, and Sheffield walks, so back-to-back walks here in the 4th inning. Hey, today after the postgame, the Yes Network updates the story of Japan's native son and Yankee slugger Hideki Matsui, with Matsui, Godzilla's tale. With special interviews and exclusive footage, it's the tale of Godzilla's journey from the Far East to the South Bronx and beyond. Matsui, Godzilla's tale, today after the postgame. That's only on Yes.
And last night's game, Mike Messina gave up back-to-back walks, and it got him in big-time trouble. Gonzalez is hoping it doesn't happen to him, but he's got a big-time RBI producer at the plate. Following 2 walks, pitcher is apt to groove one, trying to just get ahead of a hitter, get ahead of somebody for a change.
Posada loops one to left field, coming on is Crawford. He'll make the play. They might double up. Giambi went too far, and they do double him up. That's bad base running by Jason Giambi, 2 away.
When you're on the bases, you're supposed to check to see where the outfielders are playing. So when the ball is hit, you have a pretty good idea if they'll be able to catch it or not. One thing you know with these Devil-Ray outfielders, they all have good speed and cover a lot of ground. Giambi doubled up easily by Carl Crawford.
A lot of times slow runners are going to try to get a big jump, and Jason's not the fastest guy in the ball club, and I think he was probably just a little bit too aggressive and tried to make too much happen.
Pitch to Tony Clark is low. Boy, that must make Jeremy Gonzalez just take a deep breath. Thank you. He thought he had a fly ball for 1 out, and he gets a fly ball for 2.
They say a double play is a pitcher's best friend, and that's not a usual double play, but a pitcher will take any kind that he can get.
So Sheffield now on first with 2 outs. We're in the top of the 4th inning. It's a 1-1 game.
Oh.
Deep to right field. No chance. See ya. A long home run by Tony Clark. Yankees lead 3-1.
Sometimes it's exactly what happens. A pitcher gets a double play and he thinks he's out of the inning and he relaxes, and he got a fastball way up in the zone. Tony Clark's he's a tall man. He's about 6'7", so for him it was waist high. He drilled in the right center bleachers, and now the Yankees are ahead 3-1.
I'll tell you what, the way Tony Clark's been swinging the bat, going back to spring training, we saw the long home run he hit in the exhibition game here. It's almost as if he's just making a bid for some playing time.
And the only reason he even made the team is Travis Lee came up hurt with a bad shoulder, and he's trying to make the most of it.
Yeah, all the rumors were that Tony Clark was headed for distant places. This one's fouls. Well hit by Enrique Wilson. But Tony Clark is certainly making an impression. Joe Torre and the rest of the Yankees. Yeah, you know what? You're not going to get it back.
And he picks up Jason Giambi with the home run as well. Joe Torre addresses it immediately.
Well, Joe's always makes a player feel pretty good about himself, even when you make a mistake. He's a great communicator, and it's really important, you know, for the Yankees. Joe's communication skills are unbelievable.
Chopped over the middle. Ray Sanchez there, and he'll gun down Wilson for the final out of inning. But the Yankees take the lead. They score 2 runs, 2 walks, 1 hit, no errors, and nobody left. And the big hit in the game for the Yankees, that one off the bat of Tony Clark, his first home run as a Yankee. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning, 3-1 New York. The hot springs of Japan, many of them throughout this country. The water comes up naturally from 1,400 meters below ground. That's how I look when there's a flood in my basement. That same little dainty step.
Is it nice and warm in your basement,
too?
Yeah.
It's got a nice smell to it as well.
Beautiful.
Did you turn the water off before you left?
Oh, now you're going to make me think. Here's Jose Cruz Jr., and the pitch is low.
You won't have to worry of being ankle deep by the time you get home.
No, I'll be neck deep. 3-1, Yankees lead. We're in the bottom of the 4th on the strength of a Tony Clark 2-run home run off Jeremy Gonzalez. Cruz grounds one through the right side for a base hit to lead off the 4th inning.
Michael and Joe, I wanted to get your thoughts about something. You know, the Yankees coming all the way over here to Tokyo to play the Tampa Bay Devil Rays in the exhibition games. When you think back on history, over 100 years ago, when the Wright brothers, you know, finally had that short flight at Kitty Hawk, they weren't thinking about anything like flying from Kitty Hawk to Tokyo, or the way that players now fly around the country. And that was less than just over 100 years ago. While we were flying here the other day, the Air Force had a plane or an experimental plane that flew 5,000 miles an hour.
Pitch to Tino is outside.
Is there any way we can get that one going home?
Well,
tonight?
you know, I'm thinking, what about 100 years from now? Do you think, you know, at 5,000 miles an hour, you can go from New York to L.A. in less than an hour. So you could go from New York to Tokyo in what it takes to go to New York to L.A. now on a flight. You understand what I mean?
He could do it in about an hour and a half.
Well, yeah. So my point is, 100 years from now, Tokyo could be a major league city.
And there's your answer right there for all the players that are wondering why are we here.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you could have anywhere in the world. You just think of all the big cities. You could have a team in Rome, Sydney, Australia. It truly would become a global game with that type of airspeed if you develop an airplane. So 100 years ago, there was no way players could have gotten around.
So where would you go? Where would you want to play?
On the East Coast. Yeah. Stay right where I am on the East Coast.
You'd want to manage the Rome team, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Pasta forever.
So I'm just saying, 100 years from now, the downside for it for the Yankees would be that Matsui would probably play for the Tokyo team. He would not leave.
Well, that's not necessarily true. I mean, you know,
well,
George has deep pockets.
That's true, but you think the Yomiuri Giants don't have deep pockets?
That's true.
And I mean, he speaks the language here. But that's yeah, I would. You got to have vision, and that vision would say to me that eventually that might come to pass, where the air flight and the air travel would be quick enough and fast enough to move baseball players and the general public around quickly enough that Major League Baseball could indeed be a global game.
Trying to keep him close because with a 3-1 coming up, it's a good hit and run pitch. They might send Jose Cruz Jr.
Jose Cruz Jr. runs well enough with Kevin Brown's time to home plate that he can get a decent jump and probably steal second if Tino swings through this ball.
There he goes, and the pitch is grounded foul outside of first.
Jose Cruz Jr. was a 30-30 man a couple of years ago with the Toronto Blue Jays. That's 30 home runs, 30 stolen bases, and that's a productive offensive season. He led the Devil Rays in home runs this spring. Hit one last night here.
He's hit one every day. He hit one in each exhibition game.
Yeah, he's locked in. He's the Devil Rays Hideki Matsui right now.
Brown with 45 pitches, and Cruz goes. It's a strike. The throw to second is in time. A strike him out, throw him out, double play. As Cruz did not get a good jump and didn't slide. So 2 away.
Shortstop, 23.
Well, Cruz is, yeah, you're right. It looked like he was expecting something else. Didn't get off to a good jump. The low jack caught stealing, and there's the tag by Derek Jeter. Spins out of the way and protected that elbow and shoulder. Remember, Derek had the collision last year in Toronto, so that shoulder might still be a little tender or vulnerable.
Gary Tuck, the Yankees catching instructor, talking with John Flaherty and saying, you know, I taught Jorge that.
He's worked very hard to get Jorge back to where he needs to be as a catcher. I believe that George is a Gold Glove caliber type of catcher. You know, a lot of times things get caught up in statistics, how many people you throw out, but a lot of that depends on how quick your pitchers are to home plate. But he's a very good thrower.
Kevin Brown's got a nice little rhythm going. He's really rocket firing right now. He's got that funky delivery to begin with. Yeah, Gary's smiling. Yeah, smile, Gary. Well, watch this delivery. Here's my number, 27.
Struck him out. So 2 strikeouts in the inning for Kevin Brown, who seems to be finding his stride here in his first start as a Yankee. We've played 4 here at the Tokyo Dome in Tokyo, Japan. The New York Yankees 3, the Tampa Bay Devil Rays 1. You are watching, yes.
We're going to take a look at that last strikeout pitch from Kevin Brown. It appears to be a splitter, but this is the type of pitch that has the opposing hitters and managers. They want to look at the baseball.
This is 88 to 90 miles an hour too, and that's the hard thing to pick it up. It starts at your thigh, and all of a sudden it's your ankles, and you can see Julio Lugo shaking his head after he takes his swing and saying, "I got no chance to hit that."
That thing really downloaded faster than my computer does.
We go to the 5th inning. Yankees 3 and the Tampa Bay Devil Rays 1. Jeremy Gonzalez with 1 mistake, and that was a 2-run home run to Tony Clark that broke the 1-1 tie, the home run in the 4th inning. Lofton leads off. And the pitch is high. Home plate umpire is Brian Gorman. Sometimes, you know, we give scouting report on pitchers. We look at weaknesses on the hitters. Sometimes it's important to know about an umpire, and the players actually have scouting reports on umpires. Give me the scouting report on Brian Gorman.
Brian's known as a pitcher's umpire. He's going to give you a little bit, especially a pitcher who's able to be around the plate and throw strikes. He might give you an inch off the outside corner, and pitchers love umpires like Brian Gorman.
Like father, like son. His father, Tom. His late Tom Gorman was, in fact, he was the umpire behind the plate in my first at bat at Wrigley Field.
2-1. Fouled straight back here. It's 2-2.
And early in my career with the Mets, they had Ken Singleton Day in Mount Vernon, which you know, was very nice of them because it's like my rookie year in the league, and I guess they wanted to make sure they get it in if I wasn't any good. But Tom Gorman actually spoke at the luncheon and told all the people in attendance that I was going to be around for quite a long time, which I thought, you know, it was nice of Brian's dad to say that. And he was right. 15 years is long enough in the major leagues.
3-2, and Lofton walks.
And after someone speaks at your luncheon, they can't ring you up.
Yeah. Oh, yes, he could. Yeah.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Yankees. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Yankees. Crowd gets a little bit of a buzz as Derek Jeter comes to the plate. Jeter's been on base twice. He was hit by a pitch in the first and walked in the third.
And while I mentioned my hometown of Mount Vernon, New York, congratulations to the Mount Vernon Knights, the high school team, won the state championship in basketball. It's not the first time they've done it, but
You playing round ball?
yeah, I played, but that was before they had state championships. The wagon trains couldn't get to the other cities far enough throughout the state.
Trying to come inside on Jeter. Moves him back off the plate.
That's been the Devil Rays' approach the whole night with the sinker ball pitcher in Gonzalez. He's tried to tie up Jeter. Jeter likes the ball out over the plate so he can get his arms extended and drive the ball to right center field. And Jeremy Gonzalez has hit him once trying to come inside, and there he started inside and almost hit him again.
You're right, because Derek in these, he's like a left-handed hitter in these situations. The hole's open with Lofton over at first base, with Tino Martinez holding him on.
And it's Toby Hall's job to make Derek Jeter try to pull the ball in. And he's got a scouting report on Derek Jeter. He knows he likes to go the other way. So you're going to either throw something really slow or you're going to try to come inside hard with the fastball to try to get him to pull the baseball.
Not going to pull that one as Lofton advances the second on a really wild pitch.
Well, it was slow, but it was up.
Tried to take too much off of it. You know, Lou's not happy with walks. He's certainly not happy with wild pitches. I mean, he got to see a lot of them last year.
Toby Hall's seen 2 of those already this year. He's 1 for 2, I guess you'd say.
They're going to have to get him a stepladder.
That's a triple crown no pitching staff wants. First in wild pitches, first in hits batsmen, and first in walks.
Wild things.
You make my heart sing. The 2-0. Foul back.
Once again, he tried to come inside because he doesn't want to allow Derek a chance to move the runner over with hitting a ball to the right side. But Derek's got a lot of options. You know, he can try to drag bunt if he wants to here, or he can try to drive the run in himself, or just move the runner over for Hideki Matsui.
Yeah, that was one of those. I'm going to get Lofton in. I'm going to get myself in.
Well, when you're 2-0, you're allowed to do that.
Chop towards short, and they have Lofton hung up. And Lofton could not stay in the rundown long enough for Jeter to get to second. In fact, Jeter almost gets picked off of first. That was not good base running by Lofton. The ball was in front of him, and he still tried to advance.
Well, that's 2 innings in a row now. The Yankees have had a miscue once they've gotten to second base. And, you know, you have 2 veteran players, Jason Giambi and Kenny Lofton. He certainly should know better. Those are missed opportunities. It almost turned into a double play.
Here's Matsui. He singled in a run in the 3rd inning. Had a good spring. And he is the darling of this country, of this crowd, of this week. Hit a home run in his first at bat in his return here against his old team, the Yomiuri Giants. And then yesterday, a double in his first at bat of the season.
You know, one of the meetings that Joe Torre has every spring training is about base running, the importance of base running, and how many games it can win you or how many games it can cost you during the course of the season. And a lot of times it's players just trying to do too much. They try to be too aggressive on the base paths, and they make bad decisions.
Matsui trying to go yard right there, and the count 1-1.
And a lot of times on the turf, the players don't understand that the ball's going to get there a lot quicker. So Kenny saw a high hopper, thought he could probably make it to third base, and didn't have a chance.
One of the rare times you see Matsui chase a bad pitch.
That's the home run record, single season home run record in Japan, 55, held by 3. Sadaharu was the first to do it, and they are very protective of always having a part of that record. Tuffy Rhodes and Alex Cabrera have also hit 55, but in their last couple of games they never got a pitch to hit because they wanted known that Sadaharu or a Japanese player is going to have that record, and they don't want a Gaijin to get that record. Deep to right center field. Going back is Cruz, looking up. See ya! A home run. Hideki Matsui, 2-run shot, and the Yankees now lead 5-1. Here's Alex Rodriguez. There's a strike.
Well, Jeremy Gonzalez has not been located in the last couple of innings. He's walked 3 men, which means he's not putting the ball where he wants to. And he certainly didn't want to throw it right there to Hideki Matsui. Look, that's what I'm talking about. He's all out of his rhythm now. I would think that soon there'll be somebody up in the bullpen. Right there. Holy cow, that one's gone. Had the sound, certainly had the distance. And you know what? That's what they all came to see.
And what's probably really disturbing for Lou here is in the 4th inning, he walked the first 2 hitters, and he gets an unusual double play. A fly ball hit the left where they double Jason Giambi off. He's got 2 outs, a man on first. He gives up a 2-run homer. He gets an unusual fielder's choice with Derek Jeter.
That one's popped up on the first base side. Hall, a long run. And he can't hold on. Catchers are not known for their range.
Catchers don't like pop-ups in domes like this because you can't take your eye off the ball. And a lot of times we start looking to the first baseman or the third baseman for help. And it's a tough play. It's a field that he's not used to. There's no warning track. He doesn't know when he's getting close to the fence. And it's hard to see in this dome on pop-ups that really highlight that.
Yeah, and the problem is for him, too, Alex Rodriguez is a guy who can take advantage of it. Extend his at-bat, you might be in trouble.
And the 2-2. High fly ball, center field. Baldelli. 2 down.
Back to my point I was making about Jeremy Gonzalez's concentration. He had a man on second with nobody out. They got a ground ball to short, and they got Kenny Lofton in a rundown and kept Derek Jeter at first. Turns around, loses his concentration, gets a fastball up, and then he loses another 2-run homer. So now he's down 5-1.
The red phone is busy.
And Lou Pinella's taking the ball from Jeremy Gonzalez. So Pinella will go to the bullpen here with the Yankees up 5-1 in the top of the 5th inning. Jeremy Gonzalez, the 2nd starter in the Devil Rays rotation. And he made that mistake to Hideki Matsui, who has shown an incredible ability to rise to the occasion ever since he's put on the pinstripes. 5-1 Yankees lead. Lou Piniella makes the singular call to the bullpen. Singular, the wireless company that fits you best. And the call to the bullpen brings in Damian Moss. Moss, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. throws change-ups, and he was with the Orioles last year. Came over in the Sidney Ponson deal with the San Francisco Giants, and the Orioles didn't like that much about him. 10 and 12 with a 5.16, and he was trying to make the rotation with the Devil Rays in spring training. He did not, and he's been relegated to the bullpen. He does not throw hard, and he does not throw strikes, and that's not Lou Piniello's type of pitcher.
No, 92 walks here, and a lot of walks. And it's because he has to be fine. He's not a hard thrower, and he has a tendency to fall behind on counts. And he's the type of guy, he might be in here only for a hitter. Try and get Giambi out.
Giambi 0 for 1 with a walk, and the pitch is a strike. Along with Joe Girardi and Ken Singleton, I'm Michael Kay. We thank you for waking up early with us here on the Yes Network. Yankees against the Devil Rays. Yankees lead 5-1. Tony Clark 2-run home run. Hideki Matsui 2-run home run. And the first Yankee run came on a Matsui RBI single. So 3 ribbies for Matsui as he plays in front of his countrymen.
Look out.
Couldn't get out of the way. And Giambi reaches base for the second time tonight. And a second Yankee gets hit. Derek Jeter led off the game, got plunked, and now Giambi gets hit.
Up and in. Oh, gee, just looked like he got hit in the tricep. Giambi led the league last year in being hit by pitches. I think he was hit about 21 times. No stranger to being plunked. Michael, we were talking about that 5,000 mile per hour airplane. Damian Moss is actually from Australia. He'd be on that Sydney team. There's no doubt in my mind.
Here's Sheffield. Big healthy cut at the change, and the count 0-1.
In fact, Sydney is about 4,800 miles from where we are right now.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
About 3.5 hours.
Well, yeah.
4 hours.
But on a 5,000 mile per hour plane, you'd be there in 45 minutes.
It's like the shuttle.
Yeah. It's like going to Boston from New York.
Well, yesterday, Victor Zambrano pitched so well, and the Devil Ray bullpen did its job, but this is more reflective of what the Devil Rays were last year. A lot of bases on balls, pitcher not always around the plate, the hit batsman, the wild pitches. And that's why they're trailing at this point 5-1. And the recipient of those runs, Kevin Brown, making his first Yankee start, and impressive in the way he has pitched so far. The 2-1. Upstairs, 3-1. Now coming in and hitting Giambi and possibly walking Sheffield. Moss is not going to make friends with Piniella this way.
Lou's shaking his head right now.
He walked him. Lou's face could be just a whole reality show the entire season.
Pitching coach Chuck Hernandez on his way to the mound.
How about Gary Sheffield's on base percentage? Yesterday, he was on base all 4 times. Today, he's been on base 2 out of 3 times, so 6 of 7. Not too bad. 2 walks today with a run scored.
As much as Giambi and Sheffield walk and the way they're able to hit for average, there's going to be a lot of RBI opportunities down in the order. Each of them walked over 130 times last year. And, you know, Sheffield hit 330. I know Giambi's not happy with 250s. He's usually much higher than that, but you're going to have a lot of chance of driving a lot of runs.
You're prescribing another 100 RBI season for Jorge Posada.
Posada yesterday was 0 for 4. He's 0 for 2 today, so still looking for his first base hit. Giambi's at second. Sheffield is at first. 2 men out. 2 runs already in the 5th as the Yankees lead 5-1. Yankees looking for a split of this 2-game series here in Tokyo. And the pitch is low. Posada, you could see his maturation. With Joe Girardi as his mentor, you can see his RBIs have gone up every single year. 57, 86, 95, 99, 101. You taught him all that, right, Joe?
Well, the interesting thing about that graphic is I never got to 57 myself. So I don't know how much you're talking about hitting. I was one of those guys trying to save runs. George is able to do both, which is a huge advantage for a team.
That makes him an all-star.
The 1-1. That one's hit deep to left field. Going back, Crawford looking up. See ya! A 3-run home run for Jorge Posada. And the Yankees lead 8-1.
They're going to be out there gathering moss pretty soon. A hit batter, a walk, and then he grooves one to Jorge Posada. Yeah, that's the way you get to 100 RBIs. What, 97 more to go.
3-run homers make it really easy to get there, too.
I remember the first year that I drove in 100 runs, I had 7 3-run homers that year.
And Clark fouls one away. This lineup will produce runs. Yesterday, they lose 8-3, but there's a lot of home runs up and down this lineup. There's very little break for any pitcher, 1 through 9.
And the one thing that the Yankees are very good at is taking advantage of extra outs or free base runners. And there you have 2 runners score that didn't even put the ball in play. And earlier in the game, you had 2 runners score that didn't put the ball in play through the walk and hit by pitches. Tony
Clark strikes out on the changeup, and the Yankees, though, complete a 5-run 5th inning. And the big blow, Hideki Matsui's 2-run home run started all off. Mom and Dad liked it. We're halfway through. We go to the bottom of the 5th. 8-1 Yankees. Matsui, who has risen to the occasion again, got a huge ovation from the fans in the left field bleachers when he walked out to the position after hitting the home run, and he has been phenomenal in this 4-game set in Tokyo. He returns home. He hits a home run his first time up against his old team, the Yomiuri Giants, and under the microscope, he just seems to perform well. The pitch to Toby Hall is outside, 1-0. So Kevin Brown has a 7-run lead. You approach the offense any differently now?
No, you're as aggressive as you've been, and he's an aggressive pitcher. He's going to use a sinker and try to get ground balls. The thing you worry about is being a little bit stiff in a long inning like that. And it might take him a couple pitches to get back in the groove that he was in.
So Toby Hall is 2 for 2.
5 hits now in 2 nights for Toby Hall. He's not going to want to leave.
Can you blame him? 5 hits? He's still probably got at least 1 more at bat.
Did they have to drag you out of Tokyo after you got 4 hits and 9 at bats?
Well, my first game I had 3 of the hits, but the last game I was like 1 for 5 and we lost, so it was a little easier to leave.
Okay. You were 3 for 4 in the first game. And that series was in 2000 against the Mets. Sanchez pops it up right field. Nice over-the-shoulder basket catch by Enrique Wilson. 1 away. That's a pretty play.
Enrique has that capability to come up with a good play. Tony Clark didn't have the angle. It was Enrique's play all the way because Gary Sheffield wasn't going to get there from right field. And then nice play by Enrique Wilson. Caught the ball, looked to see where everybody was on the field. He's been very, very smooth in the early going this year.
Here's Crawford. And there's a strike. One thing that we have heard about Kevin Brown is under no circumstance do you mess with him on the day that he pitches. He is best described as ornery. He does not want to be bothered. He has one mission, and that is the pitch. You ever had teammates like that?
Coney was the same way. Coney usually had to vent on someone, so you didn't really want to run in Coney's path. You didn't want to get in his path. Every once in a while, if he couldn't find someone to vent on before the game, it usually happened to me when I would go out to the mound, and he'd let me have it. But made him feel better, made him pitch better, so I didn't really care.
Now, the strange thing about David Cone, though, is if you remember the media, he would talk to you the day he pitches. And a lot of pitchers refuse to do that. Kevin Brown doesn't want anybody to come near him, but I guess Cone decided to vent on his teammates, I guess.
Well, it usually started about 7 o'clock at night. You could see his face, and you could start to see the veins in his head. But we all understood that that was David Cone, and we loved him for it.
Slow roller in front of the plate. Posada has the play at first. He makes it. And it's one away. Hey, it's time now for the Closer Look replay brought to you by Samsung. And let's take a closer look at what Hideki Matsui has done.
High fastball. And Matsui's first home run of the season. That is our Samsung Closer Look replay.
Have we found the time zone that he doesn't hit in?
Here's Damian Rolls. He's 0 for 2 in the bottom of the 5th inning. Yankees lead 8-1. If you're a Yankee fan and you're just waking up close to 6:45 on the East Coast of the United States, probably a nice way to wake up, see your team leading 8-1. We thank you for flicking on the TV as you open up your eyes and joining us. Yankees a much better performance today than they had yesterday in the season opener when they lost 8-3. Mike Messina not sharp, but Kevin Brown has turned in a nice performance his first start as a Yankee. Devil Rays have actually out-hit the Yankees, but the Yankees have had the bigger blows. Popped up. Right side of the infield. Enrique Wilson is there. And he has 2 putouts in the inning. For the Devil Rays, no runs a hit, no errors, and 1 man left. We played 5 full here in Tokyo. Yankees 8, Devil Rays 1. Kenny, we dug very deep in the archives. You mentioned traveling to Japan. You were part of the '79 All-Star Tour. And there's Kenny Singleton.
Willie Wilson standing next to me there, yeah.
And look at Bobby Mercer.
Oh, my goodness.
How long did it take you guys to get on that flight? That must have been a single-engine jet, right? Back in '79?
Oh, my goodness. Man, that's old stuff.
You look the same, though.
Yeah, I wish I felt the same.
Here's Enrique Wilson against Damian Moss.
In those days, I tell you felt bulletproof. Like nothing could affect you.
Bobby must have felt that way to put that hat on. There's a strike.
I think he was working for Amtrak, didn't he? Forgive me, Bobby. I know you're watching.
I got an email from Bobby. He said, I'm watching, but not the live version. He said, I can't get up that early. I'm watching the replay.
All right, well.
The 1-2 is outside. Right now, what Lou Pinella's doing is Moss has struggled in spring training. He struggled in the inning. He's not going to eat up any more pitchers. He'll leave him out there and hope that he finds something.
He's been a starter most of his career, too. So, I mean, long relief should be something this guy can give the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, and you might have a few opportunities with this club.
There's a base hit to right center field for Enrique Wilson. Baldelli's going to try to hold it to a single. He does. So Wilson gets his first base hit of the season after a scalding spring.
Baldelli showing off his speed, and I think everybody respects his arm now because he led the league in assists. That is not. It looked like it was hit right off his ankles. So Enrique determined to get a base hit. There, Tokyo gets the job done, fills the column. There's Baldelli over quickly, and watch him get the ball back in too. Led the league in assists.
He had 14 assists last year. And the funny thing about assists is once you have a good year with assists, you don't get them anymore, and everybody thinks, well, maybe his arm's not that good. People just don't run on you after that.
People start to respect you a lot more, and he's a young player. They're going to test him, and now that he's shown that he can throw people out, you know, they're not going to run on him as much.
Lofton slaps one to left field. Going back is Crawford. He'll make the play as Wilson retreats back to first.
You know, we just saw a shot of Ruben Sierra on the bench. There's a reason why we showed him, and I'll tell you what. We mentioned that Baldelli, youngest player to lead the league in assists since Ruben Sierra led the league in assists. I think it was his second year in the league. So it's been a while since somebody that young has actually thrown out that many runners. And what happens, usually don't get that many assists because people stop running on it.
Here's Lou Piniella, and that might do it for Damian Moss. Lou taking a very slow walk to the mound with Derek Jeter due up, so they do signal for the right-hander. You've got Jeter coming up, then Matsui and A-Rod. So 2 right-handers out of the next 3 with a runner on first base. So as Lou Piniella makes the change, we take another look at the beautiful city of Tokyo, the Tokyo Tower, which is actually taller than the Eiffel Tower. Have we done our homework or what? Derek Jeter and Hideki Matsui checking out the warm-up tosses of Jorge Sosa, the 3rd pitcher used by Lou Piniella. And you see his numbers last year with Tampa Bay. Not too pretty.
You know what you see with every one of these Tampa Bay pitchers, the walk numbers are up there. They play some long games.
One thing they wanted to do during the offseason was improve their bullpen. They think they've done that. Jorge Sosa was pitching last year in the 7th and 8th innings. And this year they're trying to move him maybe into the 5th and the 6th, acquiring a guy like Danny Baez, who closed yesterday's game, and Lance Carter, who was an all-star and a closer last year, can now pitch in the 7th and the 8th. So they think they've lengthened their bullpen just a bit. Yankees lead 8-1, runner on first base, 1 out. Jeter still looking for his first base hit of the season. He's 0 for 1 today. He was hit by a pitch, and he also walked. Pitch is inside, 1-0.
Yeah, you might as well throw the numbers up on Ruben Sierra. It was back in 1987 when he was with the Texas Rangers that he had 17 assists. You know, people forget Ruben was a good all-around player when he first came up.
Well, when Ruben first came up in the first couple of years he had, people looked at him and said, this guy is a future Hall of Famer. And then what he did was he fell in love with lifting weights and became too muscular and too bulky. And they really cut down on his fluid swing. And only in the last couple of years when he bulked down, so to speak, as he has a return closer to what he once was. The 2-0. Grounded left side. Fielded there by Rolls. He goes to second run on to first. Not in time. And now let's listen to the hand for Hideki Matsui.
Left fielder, number 55, Hideki Matsui.
I'll tell you what, that's a thunderous ovation for this crowd. It's lukewarm, single in the 5th inning at Yankee Stadium. But for Tokyo, it's thunderous. They're not very loud. They don't stand up very often. There's a strike. In fact, when he hit the home run in the 5th inning, he got a standing ovation, which is extremely rare here. Usually the only people that stand up are the people in the bleachers. But everybody in this crowd did stand up to show the appreciation for the performance this guy has put forth in this return home. One and one.
You can see that Sosa has a good arm. It throws hard, but once again, Toby Hall's going to be jumping all over the place behind the plate. Watch the flash bulbs. Everybody trying to capture part of Matsui before he takes off for the East Coast.
Some Japanese players have left Japan in a very defiant way. They found loopholes in the basic agreement. They waited 9 years and just left. But Matsui had a very emotional press conference where he was crying and said how difficult the decision this was, but he wanted to test out how he would do against the top-flight Major League competition. But it broke his heart to leave Tokyo and to leave the beloved Yomiuri Giants, and that won the fans over. They didn't resent him for leaving. They actually embraced him. And they understood that he was trying to prove himself.
And they still support him.
That one's hit deep to center field. Going back, Baldelli on the track in front of the wall. He makes the play as Matsui bids for another highlight. Just a little bit short. In the 6th inning, no runs a hit, No errors, and 1 man left. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning here at the Tokyo Dome in Tokyo, Japan. Thank you for waking up with yes. Yankees lead the Devil Rays 8-1. Well, Matsui, Godzilla, whispering sweet nothing in the Yankees' ears. He almost had a 2nd home run, just a little bit out front. Rocco Baldelli leads out the bottom of the 6th inning with a fly ball to, well, guess who? Matsui, 1 away.
You know, it's interesting. Now we have Matsui on camera here because when Lou Piniella first got here with the press conference, one thing he said, one reason why the Devil Rays agreed to come here and play in Japan so they could put themselves on the map and maybe have themselves a future Japanese player, Japanese star, come and play for the Tampa Bay Devil Rays and help their cause in the Eastern Division in the American League. So that was one reason why they agreed to come this far to play the New York Yankees.
Here's Aubrey Huff. Huff an RBI single in the 1st inning, the only run on the board for the Devil Rays. He's 1 for 2. And Brown deals a strike. These are the Japanese players presently playing in the American League. And that final name, New, he's going to close for the Chicago White Sox, Shingo Takatsu. Ichiro Suzuki, Rookie of the Year and MVP his 1st season. These are the Japanese players currently playing in the National League. Obviously, you know all of them. You've seen them play, and we haven't yet seen Kaz Matsui of the Mets. Little Matsui, they call him. He's a shortstop, and he is supposed to be a dynamic player as well.
They're not related.
Kevin Brown has just done a tremendous job tonight, getting a lot of ground balls. And he's gotten a few pop-ups. He's been able to keep the, guys like Aubrey Huff in check, and he had an RBI single in the 1st. But
Lost 1 to left field. Matsui's there. 2 away.
Since then, he's been able to throw him a lot of sinkers away and take away from his power because he can't get his arms, inside and pull a ball, and it made him hit the ball the other way. And that's what you want to do. You want to try to make power hitters leave the other way. You want to try to make them hit home runs the other way because they usually can't hit the ball as far.
Along with Joe Girardi and Ken Singleton, I'm Michael Kay. Thank you for waking up with us. It's 7 o'clock in New York City. And if you're just opening your eyes, you're seeing that the Yankees are leading 8-1 here in the bottom of the 6th inning. And we thank you for turning on the Yankee Entertainment and Sports Network. Jose Cruz Jr. takes a strike.
And Kevin Brown has settled into a nice rhythm. Jorge Posada, it's his job to keep him going right now.
There's a fly ball to right field, not too deep. Sheffield's there. And a nice easy inning for Kevin Brown, who's retired the last 6 Devil Rays in a row. We go to the 7th here in Tokyo. Yankees 8 and the Devil Rays 1 on yes. In 1974, another New York team made a trip to Japan, an exhibition series, and the New York Mets were that team. And the manager of the Mets that year, well, you know him very well, Yogi Berra, and one of his players, Joe Torre. And Joe Torre welcomed himself to Japan with one mighty swing, hitting a home run. And because of that home run, he got himself a huge stereo system as a gift, which he said he had a very tough time transporting back to the States. He's just hoping to bring a win back with this trip, and the Yankees look like they're well on their way with an 8-1 lead here in the 7th inning. Leading off for the Yankees here in the 7th, Alex Rodriguez. We mentioned earlier that Rodriguez's first manager in the big leagues was Lou Piniella, and Rodriguez told a story the other day why he has such respect for Lou Piniella. It was 1995, August 4th, and he had a big at-bat for the Mariners against Dennis Eckersley, and he struck out waving weakly at it. And he comes back to the dugout, and Lou Piniella looks at Alex Rodriguez and said, "Hey, kid, I love you, but you got to be better than that." There's a line drive to right field. Cruz is there, and he makes the play. 1 away. And Rodriguez said, "I'm 18 years old. The manager says this to me." He said, I quickly put on my sunglasses because I start to cry. And I sit down at the end of the dugout, and I'm sitting in the dugout crying. And Lou Piniella realized that what he said was harsh, and he walked the length of the dugout over to Alex Rodriguez and kissed him on the forehead. He said, "I still love you." And Alex Rodriguez said that showed me what he was all about. He had something to say. He said it. But then he showed, just like a father, that he could give love as well as discipline. He said, I would have run through a wall for the guy.
Well, the great managers are able to read their ball players, and that's, you know, Joe Torre's great at that. I mean, you see Joe put his arms around guys all the time because, you know, players need that sometimes. This is a tough game. It's hard to be successful every day, and sometimes you go through times in your career that you're really struggling, and the one great thing about Joe is he always treats you the same no matter what you're doing. Yeah. And that's really important to players.
That was the same way with Earl Weaver. He treated everybody the same. Lousy.
The 2-0.
You always knew where you stood.
Well, exactly. I mean, geez.
Players want to know that, too. They always want to know where they stand so they feel like where they belong, what they're supposed to do. Yeah.
Earl's not kissing anybody.
You guys ever cry on a baseball field?
I have. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
When did you cry?
When I hit my triple in the Game 6 World Series.
While you're standing on third, you cried?
Just a few tears, yeah.
Wow. Now, you once told me that run from second to third, you didn't even feel the dirt.
No, you know, and the amazing thing is I don't even remember the noise in the stadium. You know, you wish you could go back in time when things like that happen. But
that is a great highlight, Joe.
Yeah, that's probably as fast as I can go, too.
The 3-1, a little bit low. Our colleague Paul O'Neill actually told me that when you hit that triple against Greg Maddux, which gave the Yankees the lead, and everybody realized the Yankees were going to win their first World since 1978, that he felt the stadium vibrate. Now, when you're standing on third base, could it vibrate?
Well, I didn't feel it, but, you know, Paul a lot of times felt a lot of things in his career at Yankee Stadium. So, but, you know, whatever Paul says, you know, I've always believed him, and, you know, my favorite teammate. Just really enjoyed playing with him, and the intensity that he brought to the park every day was amazing.
That's amazing to me because he annoys me to no end. Here's Sheffield, a slow roller, third base side, going to be a tough play. Fielded there by Rolls across the diamond. Not in time. Boy, Gary Sheffield is living well.
Those bullets you're talking about, Kenny, in the box score.
Exactly. He's been on base 3 times tonight. 2 walks, a couple of runs scored, and now an infield. This is his second infield single. Now, the thing about Gary Sheffield, he might get a few of these because the third basemen have to play so deep. You know, they respect the fact that he can get rockets down upon them at third base, and he beats out his second infield single here in Tokyo.
Yeah, he could pull the ball as hard as anyone in the game. The other thing that you're going to see is you're going to see Louis Sojo, the third base coach, way deep in the box and try to be as close to the stands as possible because he's worried about getting hit.
Louis still got the good hands, but he doesn't have a glove. That's the problem.
He's getting out of the way of those.
Here's Jorge Posada, a 3-run home run his last time up. And a nice save there by Toby Hall. Looked like he got crossed up.
Looked like a Martin Brodeur on that one.
He got crossed up on the location. He was setting away, and the pitcher threw a 95-mile-an-hour fastball inside. And this might be a long flight for Toby tonight.
He's got the hits to fall back on.
Yeah, but I think he's going to be a little stiff. He's done a few of those turns, and balls in the dirt, balls over his head.
Triple axles.
The 1-0. Deep to right field. Another home run for Jorge Posada. See ya. A 3-run shot. 2 3-run home runs for Posada. The Yankees lead 11-1. Posada has 6 RBIs.
We talked a little bit earlier about the catcher saving runs. You know, it's hard to save more than 6 runs. He's driven in 6 runs tonight. That's hard to do. He's done a great job with Kevin Brown. He's done a great job swinging. He got a fastball inside. And George has always been a guy that it's hard to throw the fastball by him. He got one inside. He knew what to do with it. Second 3-run homer of the night. It's just a great job with Kevin Brown. He's been in a rhythm all night with Kevin Brown. Haven't seen Kevin shake much. His pace has been outstanding. They've shut down the Devil Rays every time that they scored, and we talked about the importance of shutting the team down after you score.
4 home runs for the Yankees in this game. Tony Clark has 1 of them.
Posada's homered from each side of the plate tonight. And you were talking about the fact he's going to have his opportunities to drive in runs with the likes of Gary Sheffield and Giambi, 2 players batting ahead of him who have close to career 40% on base percentages.
You know, he's knocked in Giambi and Sheffield twice tonight. And then they've only had 1 hit between them in those 2 at-bats. There's been 2 base on balls and a hit by pitch. Their on-base percentage is great, and this could be George's biggest RBI year so far in his career.
Well, he's leading the league right now.
Top of the 7th inning. Posada with 6 of the Yankees' 11 ribbies. Yankees lead 11-1. And the 3-1 to Clark. He walks. Well, this Devil Ray pitching staff still not pinpoint control, that's for sure. And Lou Pinella's going to have a lot of walks to the mound if this continues. Lou looks about as disgusted as one could look.
Well, Lou had a great pitching staff in Seattle when he left, and this has to be a hard adjustment for him. He got used to winning a lot of games, and his pitchers pitching deep into games. And you know, he has a young pitching staff, and the hardest thing to develop is pitchers in your minor leagues, and it's going to take a lot of time.
Well, Lou's going to go to the bullpen for the 3rd time tonight. We'll come back with a matchup as Enrique Wilson will step to the plate. Yankees lead 11-1. Next Tuesday night on Yes, the Yankees are in Tampa to take on the Devil Rays in their U.S. season opening series. Complete coverage begins at 6:30 with Fred Hickman and the Tri-State Quality Ford pregame. Then join Jim Cottonby as we call all the action beginning at 7 when the Yankees take on the Devil Rays, and that is only on the Yankee Entertainment and Sports Network. Chuck Hernandez cannot like what he has seen so far. Jeremy Gonzalez started, Damian Moss, Jorge Sosa, and now Trevor Miller.
Well, the Devil Ray pitchers have handed out 7 walks. Trevor Miller last year with the Toronto Blue Jays. His walk total up there quite a bit, 28 and 55 2/3 innings.
Enrique Wilson takes a strike. Bloop to right center field. It's going to be another base hit for Enrique Wilson as Tony Clark advances to second. So Wilson with his 2nd base hit of the evening here in Japan and of the day back in New York. And that brings up Kenny Lofton.
Looked like something that got in on the trademark of the bat, but Enrique Wilson's going to take this.
You know, Enrique actually really deserves that because he hit 3 line drives last night and came up 0 for 4, and they're supposed to balance out. I'm not sure that they always do, but he deserves that.
Well, the aforementioned Paul O'Neill said they never balance out.
I know for him they didn't.
Kenny Lofton takes a strike.
And you know what? He always lets you know about it, too.
Either you or a water cooler.
Yeah.
1st and 2nd with 1 out. The 0-1. Line drive, base hit to left field by Kenny Lofton. Tony Clark rounds 3rd. He'll stop right there, and the Yankees have loaded the bases. 2nd base hit for Lofton tonight. Also has a walk, so a good night for him in the number 9 hole. And now back to the top of the lineup, and Derek Jeter.
Yeah, in a closer game, you might have seen Louis Soho send Tony Clark. But in a situation when you're up 11-1, you don't want anybody getting hurt sliding into a catcher. So he holds him in 3rd, and the bases are loaded.
Derek is still looking for his 1st base hit of the year. 0 for 5 yesterday, 0 for 2 today. But he has walked and was hit by a pitch and actually has scored a run. Ducks on the pond for him, though. Bases loaded with 1 man out. And Derek has never hit a grand slam in his career, which began late 1995. There's a strike. I really wish that he would hit a grand slam at some point so that we don't have to keep saying every time he comes up with the bases loaded that he's never hit a grand slam.
He will.
Is that a guarantee, Kenny?
Eventually he will.
(11-1) Yankees lead. They've hit 4 home runs. Matsui, Clark, and 2 by Posada. Count levels at 1-1. He gets base hits with the bases loaded, a .345 hitter, but has yet to hit the long ball. Tony Clark at 3rd, Wilson at 2nd, Kenny Lofton at 1st. And the count 2-1. And this is what's problematic about the Devil Ray pitchers. Even if they don't walk you, they always seem to be 2-0, 2-1, 3-1. And if you don't end up walking somebody and you groove a pitch, it's just as damaging.
This could be it.
Yeah, and as a hitter, you're always looking to get in those counts, 2-0, 2-1, 3-1. You know, you have an advantage. You know that there's a good chance you're going to get a fastball, and you can be selective as a hitter, and you can look for your pitch and look for something to drop.
The 2-1. Grounded foul, and the count levels at 2-2. Hideki Matsui is on deck. Still 2-2.
One thing the Devil Rays have done in this series, they've done a good job with Derek Jeter, pounding him inside, throwing him a lot of sinkers inside. Derek likes to try to stay inside the ball, but it's really difficult if you can stay that far inside, to stay inside the baseball and hit the ball to right field. They've done a good job with Derek.
And the 2-2 just missed inside, and the count is full at 3-2. No place to put Derek Jeter.
Here's what I talked about, them pitching Derek inside. It's happened all night. He's gotten hit by a pitch tonight. He's walked on a lot of fastballs, them trying to go inside and miss. And Derek usually sees a lot of that from certain teams. Other teams aren't capable of doing that, but a lot of the teams try to pitch Derek inside.
Bases loaded. 3-2 count on Jeter. Yankees lead 11-1, top of the 7th. Line drive to right field. That is a base hit in front of Cruz. Clark will score. They hold Wilson at third. It's an RBI single for Jeter, his first base hit of 2004. And the Yankees have a dozen. They lead 12-1.
Well, Miller has come on and not really calm things down. He's given up 3 straight hits, including Derek's first hit of the year, and you like to get on the board.
And the crowd responds for Matsui. Flashbulbs are loaded. Anticipating something special. It's 2 for 4 for Matsui tonight. And looking to do something special with that swing.
Yeah, I think he was trying to get him what they all wanted to see there. I think he's looking for that grand slam. Didn't take him long to get one in his career as a New York Yankee.
Opening day at Yankee Stadium, the home opener last year. Breaking ball strike. He has come through in these situations so many times. You just figure something will happen. Let's see. Not this time. He goes down on strikes. And the crowd groans. They can't believe it.
Looked like a good sinker, down and in. That's been Miller's best pitch of the inning.
It's not a pitch that left-handers are used to seeing in. They don't see a lot of sinkers from left-handers. Left-handers are usually going to throw breaking balls away, or fastballs away, and if they do show you in, it's usually going to be something up around your letters just to try to get you from looking outside all the time for breaking balls and fastballs.
Well, Lou Piniella goes to the bullpen again. Yankees lead 12-1. The bases are loaded. Stay right here on Yes. Lou Piniella brings in Chad Gaudin. And Gaudin will face Alex Rodriguez with the bases loaded. Gaudin is the 5th Devil Ray hurler used by Lou Piniella. And you see his numbers last year with the Devil Rays. 2-0 with a 3.60. Less than a hit an inning. And again, the walk's a little bit too much. Strikeout to walk ratio not very good.
Yeah, but Devil Rays think this young man's really going to be a good pitcher one day. Maybe jump into the rotation.
Rodriguez 0 for 4 tonight. Last night 1 for 4. We said that Jeter doesn't have a grand slam. Alex Rodriguez has 10. High fly ball deep to center field. Going back Baldelli. He's on the track in front of the wall. He makes the play for the final out of the inning. So Rodriguez bidding for number 11, but he falls short. The Yankees score 4 runs here in the 7th inning. And the big story in the game, Jorge Posada. A home run from the right side. A home run from the left side. How many 3-run home runs? How many? 2, that's right.
Possibly be in this evening.
That is such a weak job by Hickman. He can't do the net pregame because he got up early to do the Yankee pregame. Nice job, Fred. At least he's enjoying a pretty good game here. Bottom of the 7th inning. And the Yankees lead the Devil Rays 12-1. And Kevin Brown, in his first Yankee start, has done a very nice job. He gave up a run in the 1st inning on an RBI single by Aubrey Huff. And since then, he has kept the Devil Rays off the board. And he's had a lot of help from his battery mate, Jorge Posada, with 2 3-run home runs, 1 from each side of the plate. And Kevin Brown deals. Ground ball to second base. Wilson's there. 1 away.
This could be Kevin Brown's last inning as the Yankees start to count down the outs. You know, they gave plenty of run support. Only 69 pitches, though, man.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
But he's had a couple long innings, and you worry about pitcher getting stiff. When, you know, the Yankees have hit through the order, batted around twice in the last 3 innings. So you worry about him getting stiff. And as a catcher, you start counting down the outs. You start thinking, when can I get to Flash Gordon, who's going to be the setup guy for Mariano Rivera, who's been a closer in his career. George knows he needs to get 2 more outs out of Kevin Brown. You're going to see Flash Gordon in the 8th and Mariano Rivera with the 9th with a bunch of days off coming up.
Lugo has struck out twice against Brown. And that one gets away from Posada. They seem like they have been in sync from the very beginning. That would seem to be unusual in their first start together. Yes, they worked in spring training, but there's a different level of intensity in a regular season game.
Well, that's why you have scouting reports and you go over game plans. You go over a game plan, and then after that, you sit down with your pitcher and say, okay, now I know what the game plan, how to get these hitters out. How are we going to apply your stuff to these hitters? And then you have a really good idea what he wants to do with each hitter and what he's comfortable throwing in certain situations. And as George catches him more and more, you're going to see him grow a lot together, and George and him are going to be in sync all the time.
Yeah, when you mean in sync, it's almost as if he never shakes him off. He knows they're thinking together on the same pitch. And there's the same amount of rhythm between each pitch. Almost you could count it down like 15 seconds, right on the money. Here it comes again.
And what's really impressive about this is it's really hard to get in sync with a guy that's got so many different pitches.
Right now you have a guy who's retired 8 in a row.
He's got 5 or 6 different pitches. He's got different arm angles. And if you're catching a pitcher that's sinker slider, it's easy because you got a 50-50 chance of putting down what he wants to throw. But with Kevin Brown, with all the arm angles and the 5 different pitches, it's really hard to do.
Now the Yankees have a little bit of a decision to make because of the Japanese trip. The Yankees are going to go back to Tampa, and they don't have another game until April 6th. So what do they do? Toby Hall takes a strike. Now the prevailing thought is maybe they start Messina and Brown again. Now Lou Piniella said that he's not going to start the same 2 pitchers against the Yankees because that means that they see them 3 straight times, and he doesn't want them to get locked into his pitchers. What do you feel is the best way to go?
Well, for the Yankees, Messina's going to probably pitch on Tuesday, and then he would throw again on Sunday, so he's going to miss the Tampa Bay. But I believe you throw your best 2 as often as you can, as long as they're on normal days rest, because it's all about wins for the Yankees, winning your division to get to the World Series. So that's what they're worried about.
Well, Toby Hall strikes out, and Kevin Brown, if that's his last inning, is finishing strong. He's retired 9 in a row. He has been extremely economical, and the Yankees have played 7 innings here in Tokyo, and they lead the Devil Rays 12-1. You're watching, yes. We go to the 8th inning and get set for a lot of numbers to hit your screen right now as we take a look at the in-game box score sponsored by your Tri-State Lincoln Mercury dealer. Derek Jeter, 1 for 3, his first base hit. of the 2004 season. Matsui 2 for 5, a home run. Alex Rodriguez doesn't have a hit, neither does Giambi, but Giambi scored 2 runs. Sheffield scored 3. Posada 2 for 4, 2 home runs, each a 3-run shot. One from the right, one from the left. Tony Clark has a home run. Enrique Wilson, his first 2 base hits of the year. And Kenny Lofton, batting ninth, is doing a pretty good job there. 2 for 3 with a run scored. So a lot of numbers for the Yankees in their in-game box score. New pitcher for the Devil Rays, it's John Halama. And he will face lefty swinging Jason Giambi. And there's a strike. New catcher, Brooke Fordyce. As Jeff Blum pinch hit for Toby Hall in the 7th inning and struck out.
And Blum goes in to play third base. Also, there's a new shortstop for the Devil Rays. Looks like Kevin Brown's night was done.
Kevin Brown gave them exactly what they needed. He neutralized the left-handed hitters. He gave up 3 hits to left-handers, 3 to right-handers. He did a great job. He gave them 7 strong innings, but what's really great about tonight's performance is he didn't throw a lot of pitches. And when you're an older pitcher that have had some arm surgeries and some arm problems, you want to throw as least amount of pitches as you can, get your hitters back to the plate, get them excited about hitting. He kept everyone involved with ground balls tonight, and you know, you want to keep the pitch count down for a guy like Kevin Brown because you're going to need him strong in September.
He's 39 years old, so they really need him, as we've been saying from the very beginning of this broadcast and in the pregame, to make his 32, 33 starts stay healthy. And if he stays healthy, he's going to put up numbers. And numbers that Jason Giambi puts up have a lot to do with on-base percentage. He has been on base 4 times tonight. 3 walks. He was hit by a pitch, so he's 0 for 1, but he has certainly been productive out of the cleanup spot. Along with Joe Girardi and Ken Singleton, I am Michael Kay, and you're watching Yankees baseball live from Tokyo, right here on the Yes Network. We thank you so much for waking up with us and staying with us throughout the 2nd game of the 2004 season. So far, you're seeing the Yankees lead the Devil Rays 2-1. Check that, 12-1. 4 home runs by the Yanks, and the pitch to Gary Sheffield is a strike.
Devil Ray pitchers kind of falling into line from last year. They've handed out 8 base on balls tonight.
Fly ball, right field, long run for Cruz. 1 away.
Actually, another change. That's Damian Rolls out there in right field. So Lewis trying to give some guys a chance to shower up, get dressed, and get ready for the long flight back to Tampa.
Well, because you have 2 days off, too. I mean, you almost got to treat it like a spring training game now. You're going to try to get all your pitchers in so they don't have too many days off before they pitch again, because the club's going to have a day off tomorrow, and they're going to practice on Friday and have games on Saturday and Sunday. So you want to try to get all the pitchers in, and position players maybe in at bat.
Well, the Yankees have a pinch runner, and that's Bubba Crosby, as Jason Giambi will get a chance to take a quick shower. So Crosby, who surprised everybody with a great spring and made the team.
It was amazing how many plays he was involved in spring training, whether he was getting a big hit, he was throwing someone out the plate, making a great catch. He had an outstanding spring, and he deserves to be on this club.
I don't think Posada's ever hit 3 in a game, has he?
It's going to be really hard to do it right now. I was wondering that if anyone's ever hit 3 3-run homers in a game.
I mean 3 home runs. It doesn't matter if it's 3 3-run homers, but he's got the count here. 2 balls and no strikes.
Halama deals.
Yep.
Now, when you've got the 2 home runs and you're at the plate and you're up 12-1, do you allow yourself to try to hit a home run?
Not on 3-0. I think it'd be showing him up if he turned them loose 3-0. So I would think that Jorge would be taking here. Remember, they played the Devil Rays 6 of their first 9 games. You don't want to get them angry, have them throwing at people.
Oh,
they do enough of that.
I realize that completely, but let's say 3-1, 2-0. Are you trying to hit a home run here?
I don't know. They've made mistakes all night long, too. They might as well make one more. Go for it.
Tino Martinez, the last 3 home run game for the Yankees. And this way, it's a ground ball of third. And it's going to be a double play around the horn, 5-4-3. So Posada hit the ball hard, but right at the third baseman, Jeff Blum. Pretty good day anyway. No runs, no hits, no errors, and because of the double play, nobody left on base. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning here at the Tokyo Dome. It's the New York Yankees 12, the Tampa Bay Devil Rays 1, and you are watching Yes. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. You see the scoreboard. Yankees lead 12-1. You also see the Japanese characters on the scoreboard, so you probably want to know what they mean. We're going to help you out. What's the top one mean, Joe Girardi?
That looks like
Baseball?
Yeah, it might be.
Let's see. Wow. Who's better than you?
I got to admit, I cheated. They showed us before they showed you at home.
Well, look at the funky one, the umpire at the bottom, you know.
Can you imagine how hard it is for a kid to learn how to write? I mean, he has to write. There's 26 letters in our alphabet.
There are thousands of
right?
characters, and they say even the Japanese people don't know all of them. And, you know, there's ones they use more often than the others.
Well, Hideki Matsui knows the third one. He had one tonight. And he hit 50 in his last year with the Yomiuri Giants. New pitcher for the Yankees. Kevin Brown was brilliant. Tom Gordon makes his Yankee debut.
Robert Fick is going to pinch hit.
Fick had a very good spring training, and he takes a strike from Gordon. You know, one thing that we should say at this point, bottom of the 8th inning, Yankees are leading 12-1. We've heard some people complain about, gee, what a long trip this has been, and it's been tough to sleep, and you know, people have jet lag, and why did Major League Baseball do this? Open their season on the road as Fick hits a line drive to right. Sheffield is right there. Well, we have to say personally that we have had an unbelievable time here in Japan. The Japanese people could not be more gracious hosts. The situation, the setup here for us here at Yes. I mean, we traveled so many people to the Far East to put these games on back to the States. We've had a great time, and I think that when you reflect back on it, the players are going to say, okay, we were tired. Yes, it was a long road trip, but the good that came out of this far outweighs the bad.
Well, I think players a lot of times make statements in the heat of the moment after a loss or shortly after a loss, and you're frustrated with your performance, and you might say something that you might not have said if you had time to think about it. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of guys a lot happier and had a good time in Japan because of tonight's performance.
And also, the one thing I think that people lose sight of, because everybody is involved with themselves more than anything, what you're trying to do if you are in Major League Baseball, if you're a Major League Baseball player, if you're the commissioner of baseball and the people that are surrounding Bud Selig, you're trying to grow the game. And when you come to the Far East and you can pack this place 6 times with 55,000 people, and you watch the Yankees and the Devil Rays, you're growing the game in a big way. So it will have a very positive effect down the line.
And you toss in the exhibition games against the Japanese teams, and I think what you got to do in your mindset, you got to treat it as if this might be the only time I ever do this in my life. You know, I've been fortunate enough to come here 3 times and enjoyed each and every time that I've been here. All-Star Tour, came over with my own team once, and now with this our Yes team. So I've enjoyed it every single time, but it is a long haul.
Crawford with a fly ball to left field. Matsui's made that long haul plenty of times. He puts it away for the second out of the inning. Well, I've had such a good time that I'm planning on flying back in a couple of weeks just to go to that fish market again. 2 down, and that'll bring up Damian Rolls.
What was really impressive to me about this trip is the first day we had a workout when we got in here, and they had sold 40,000 tickets for the workout. Just the workout, 40,000 tickets, and I think it shows you how important Major League Baseball is to the Japanese people.
And the New York Yankees are like a second home team here in Tokyo and throughout the country of Japan. Every single one of the Yankee games broadcast live back to the Far East, and that's because of Hideki Matsui. And because of that, all of a sudden, the Japanese people identify with the Derek Jeter. And when he was introduced the first game, people certainly cheered for him. And Matsui is so huge here. He's got his own plane, face on a plane. You can't be bigger. He's the Michael Jordan of this country. And now he returns here with the New York Yankees. Derek Jeter fields and throws to first in a 1-2-3 inning for Tom Gordon. And the Yankees are 3 outs away from their first win of the 2004 season. We go to the 9th. It's 12-1 New York. A look at Shinjuku, which is located on the city's trendy west side, a popular and somewhat raucous night spot area. And the amazing thing is, if you look closely, Girardi is right there. Boy, you had a good time in Shinjuku, right, Joe?
All those neon lights, yeah.
Halama in his second inning of work deals to Tony Clark, and Clark swings and misses. A lot of changes. Rolls is back at third base. Jeff Blum has taken over at second, so he moves from third to second, and a new right fielder is Robert Fick. And they're going to try him out right away as Clark lifts one deep to right field. And one away. Let's take a look now at the play of the game, brought to you by Continental Airlines, the official airline of the New York Yankees.
Well, this is what people of Tokyo came to see. Their hero, Hideki Matsui, in the 5th inning with a 2-run homer. And that's going to be our Continental Airlines play of the game.
In quite a week for Hideki Matsui as he proves Thomas Wolfe wrong. You can indeed go home again and be successful. And the pitch to Wilson is outside. A young lady woke up early to watch the Yankees because her daddy is part of the Yankee coaching staff. Oh, she's here, but she's taping the game back home. That's Gary Tuck's daughter, right, Joe?
Yeah, Shelby, I believe, turned 11 today, and she had a nice birthday here. And ever since I've been a part of the Yankees, she's always been either in spring training or with Gary on her birthday, and it's nice that she could accompany Gary here with his wife, Taryn.
Enrique Wilson reaches out and taps it to first. Tino Martinez beats Wilson to the bag, 2 away.
Center fielder, number 12, Kenny Lofton.
Keep it here after the last out for the Nissan postgame with Fred Hickman and Susan Waldman, featuring detailed analysis of today's game, interviews with players, plus scores and highlights from around the league. The Nissan postgame immediately following the game, and that is right here on Yes. Jorge Posada will be a big part of that postgame. 2 3-run home runs. Pitch to Kenny Lofton is a strike. Pitch is high.
Well, it appears that the flight back is going to be a very happy one. Maybe that'll turn into rapidity. I always say it's faster on the way back.
Well, the Yankee flight will be faster than the Devil Rays flight, because the Devil Rays are flying with a 12-1 loss, possibly. The Yankees are flying with a 12-1 win. I think Joe said this off the air last night. You're going to have a 2-game series and you're going to split it. You want the second game to be the win.
Yeah, because that flight, you know, when you're going home, you want to go home feeling good about yourself. And it's you know, there's 5 days before they play in a major league game again. You know, you still have 2 exhibition games, but you want to get off to a good start and you want to feel good about your last performance.
Lofton takes a pitch high, 3-2. And the pitch. Strike 3. Lofton is down looking. He was trying to buy a walk, turns around and tells Brian Gorman, I thought that was a pitch outside. But the Yankees go down in order. Last licks for the Devil Rays. They try for an 11-run rally. Yankees lead 12-1. Next Tuesday night on Yes, the Yankees are in Tampa to take on the Devil Rays in their U.S. season opening series. Complete coverage begins at 6:30 with Fred Hickman and the Tri-State Quality Ford pregame. Then join Jim Cotton me as we call all the action beginning at 7 when the Yankees take on the Devil Rays, and that is only on Yes. A lot of flashbulbs going off. Why? Because this is the Japanese first chance to see Mariano Rivera in a regular season game. He came out of the Yankee dugout and he got a huge ovation from this crowd, and very softly, not like the same way at Yankee Stadium, but very softly had Enter Sandman in the background, so even that traveled east.
Yeah, it's amazing. They've had all the songs for the players that you're used to hearing at Yankee Stadium. They don't quite have the sound system and the bass that you hear at Yankee Stadium, but I know when we played our first exhibition game and Derek Jeter went up to hit and he had a song that he liked, he actually looked out and back into the dugout and kind of laughed.
Well, here's Baldelli against Mariano Rivera. Obviously, not a save situation. Yankees are up by 11, but he needs work. Yankees don't have another game until April 6th.
And he hasn't thrown since the first day we got here in the first exhibition game, so he's had 2 days off. So, you know, your closer needs work, and Mo likes to work, and it's important they get him in this game.
And the crowd goes, ooh, at the fastball.
They're probably waiting on that first broken bat.
They probably know him more than the other Yankees because when he comes in, it's not such an ungodly hour for a Yankee game. It's the 9th inning. It's probably right around 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. The 2-1. This is amazing because there are more pictures being taken of Mariano Rivera, I think, than were taken of Hideki Matsui throughout the series. Every single pitch, the flash bulbs are going off here at the Tokyo Dome.
Well, I have more opportunities to get to Matsui. You know, he's out in the field. He comes up to hit a few times.
We're going to run out of film if Baldelli keep battling.
I think a lot of the fans received the digital cameras when they came in today. So,
did they?
Yeah, I saw also the watches that they gave us, the inaugural Tampa Bay Yankee series. They gave us watches. A lot of the people were coming in with those watches too. So I don't know if it was the giveaway.
2-2 over the head of Posada, and then count 3-2.
You know, sometimes it can be difficult for a guy who's used to coming in to save games with a 1 or 2, 3-run lead. You know, it's not the same intensity when it's 12-1. This is not the situations that Mariano is used to.
No, he doesn't get many games like this because there's so many opportunities to win games when you're in New York. And yeah, this is very difficult for him because he doesn't have the adrenaline that he's used to having.
3-2. He struck him out. High cheese, 1 away.
But he still has the same fastball.
Crowd liked that one. Baldelli didn't.
Put it right up there near his eyes, and he chased it. It might have been ball 4.
This is when you usually see his devastating cutter to left-handed hitters. Left-handed hitters have such a hard time with this pitch because it appears to be a strike on the inside corner, and then it just kind of disappears under your hands. And lefties actually have a harder time hitting Mo than right-handers do.
He actually came on the scene, really burst on the scene in '96, setting up for John Wetland. He came up toward the end of '95. You saw some glimpses, but when did it hit you, this guy's special?
I saw it the first month of the season, and what was incredible about what he did was he was able to sometimes give us 3 innings to set up for John Wetland. And a lot of times with the Yankees in 1996, we believed it was a 5-inning game because Mo could give you 3 innings, and then you had John Wetland for 1 inning, and it was a huge advantage. Had over 100 strikeouts out of the bullpen, and very seldom do you ever see that.
And that was
in
before the
1996.
cutter.
Yeah. Well, he had the cutter. I just don't think he realized he had it yet, and what a devastating pitch was. And then he didn't really have a sinker at that point. He's developed that over the last couple of years to try to neutralize the right-handed hitters, to get some balls running in on their fists, because they can always look out over the plate. And if you can always look in one area to hit a baseball, the hitter's going to have a big advantage. So now they have to deal with a sinker also.
The 2-2. Strike 3. Huff down looking.
And there's the cutter. You know, you always have that left-handed hitter thinking about, I don't want to get jammed. I don't want this bat to explode. So what do? You paint the outside corner, and all he can do is look at it. You see him, that front shoulder kind of turn out, expecting the ball inside. And Mo and Jorge, thinking along different lines, pick up the strikeout. Nothing you can do but take it back to the bench.
You know, a lot of times ego can be a terrible thing, and you don't want to get beat inside, so you start cheating. And Mo sees that, and Georgie sees that from behind the plate, and that's when they backdoor his cutter, and you're looking inside, and all of a sudden it appears to be a ball off the plate, and it comes right back over the outside corner.
Here's Fordyce, and the pitch is swung on and missed. So we are 1 out away from this trip to Japan coming to a close. Hideki Matsui returning to the scene of his greatest triumphs, and he has added some more words, some more chapters to an unbelievable book of a career. The first at bat against the Yomiuri Giants, he hits a home run. First at bat yesterday in a regular season game, he doubles. He hits a home run in this game, and it has been a triumphant return home for Hideki Matsui. And now Mariano Rivera will try to put a bow on it. right back to Rivera. This'll do it. He flips to Tony Clark. Game over. Yankees win 12-1. They get their first victory of the 2004 season, and the trip to Japan is over with a victory. Jorge Posada with 2 3-run home runs, one from the right side, one from the left side. Kevin Brown's Yankee debut was a marvelous one, as he gave the Yankees 7 innings of 1-run baseball. And Hideki Matsui can take a deep breath, because a week where he was totally under the microscope, he excelled. And now he heads back to the States. We'll come back, we'll wrap it up, and we'll break it down. Yankees beat the Devil Rays 12-1. Stay here on Yes. Well, the Yankees split the 2-game series with the Devil Rays here in Tokyo with a 12-1 victory over Tampa Bay. And the player of the game is brought to you by Rocky Mountain Coors Light. Cold, down, easy.
Should be easy to figure out. Yankees scoring 5 runs in the 5th inning, 3 of them on Jorge Posada's first home run of the year. He hit that one right-handed. Then in the 7th inning, when the Yankees scored 4 times, 3 of the runs scoring on Jorge Posada's second home run of the game. This time he hit it left-handed. He is our Coors Light player of the game.
So after a disappointing 8-3 loss yesterday, the Yankees bounced back with a 12-1 victory today, and they did it in impressive fashion. Kevin Brown was magnificent in his Yankee debut. 12-11-0 for the Yankees, 1-6-1 for the Devil Rays. Brown gets the win, Gonzalez the loss. The time of the game, same as yesterday, a manageable 2 hours and 45 minutes. Posada, as we mentioned, 2 for 5 with the 2 home runs, 6 ribbies. And Brown, 7 innings, 6 hits, 1 earned run. That came in the first inning. After that, all zeros. He did not walk a batter, and he struck out 5. So Kevin Brown joins the Yankees in style. Coming up on the Yes Network, stay tuned for the Nissan New York Yankees postgame with Fred Hickman and Susan Waldman, featuring complete game analysis and interviews. Special thanks to senior producer Kevin Smolin, director John Moore, supervising producer Woody Fryman, pregame producer Bill Bolin, and executive producer John Filippelli. A big round of applause to our entire remote crew, headed by technical director Jonas Einstein, and also a big thanks to our audio crew, led by Greg Curry, and thanks to our stage manager, Audrey DeWeiss. Join us again Tuesday night for Yankees baseball as the Bombers take on the Tampa Bay Devil Rays at Tropicana Field. Coverage begins at 6:30 with Fred Hickman, Susan Waldman, and the New York Yankees pregame. For more on the Yes Network, buy a computer and log on to yesnetwork.com. For Ken Singleton and Joe Girardi, I'm Michael Kay saying see ya from Tokyo, Japan. Once again, the final score, the New York Yankees 12, the Tampa Bay Devil Rays 1. See you, everybody. Sayonara. Have a good one. And he is speaking to the media right now, and many in the crowd of 55,000 are still in the ballpark. In fact, most of them still are. Why don't we listen in on some of this?
打った瞬間の感触はいかがでした？
もう完璧でしたね。すぐホームランになると思いました。
それとダイヤモンド一周の時のすっごい歓声、耳に届きましたか？
まあすごすぎてね、もうなんていうかよく覚えてないんですけど、もう最高に幸せでしたね。ベース一周は。
おそらく場内にいる5万5千の人もそうです。テレビラジオの向こうの日本国中のファンがほっとして今年の松井はやるな確信したと思いますよ。
期待しててください。頑張ります。
Retired 50 of the last 17 you faced. Did you get more and more confident as the game went on?
Well, I think a lot of that had to do with the way the guys are swinging the bat. You know, it allows you a lot more freedom to be, experimental out there and trying to find what's really working for you that day. So, got to tip your hat to those guys that are swinging the bats today.
What was working for you today?
Basically just movement. Had pretty good movement on the seeker after I got going, and we had the lead and felt like all I had to do was make the guys swing the bat, and hopefully they'd hit it to somebody.
When you do have that kind of a lead, and you say you experiment, what do you try and do? Try and get people more off balance? You had an awful lot of ground balls, as you usually do.
Well, I mean, it depends on how you feel. Today, I started off, just didn't feel real comfortable, and I started experimenting with my delivery until I found something that allowed me to throw the ball over the plate and get them to hit the ball to somebody.
Okay, first win as a Yankee in the Tokyo Dome. Can you kind of describe this whole week, sum up how you felt here?
A lot of different emotions. Tired, excited, just glad to be a part of this. Again, the fans here have been so good to us, and everybody has just been so generous, and it's a real tribute to, I think, the country, the way they've treated us here, and I think we all appreciate their approach and their appreciation of the game.
And, of course, Kevin Brown's battery made Jorge Posada had himself a terrific game, both behind the plate and at the plate from both sides, as a matter of fact. The 9th multi-homer game of his career, the 5th time that he has homered from both sides of the plate in the same game last time, June 28th of 2002. Right side and left side, 5th and 7th innings, both 3-run jobs. So a 6 RBI day for Jorge Posada, who's coming off a career year in which he recorded 101 RBI last year. And here's what he had to say to Susan a few moments ago.
Well, you must be a lot more pleased tonight than last night.
Well, we did a lot of things. We didn't hit at all, yesterday, and today we came out and, went with the bats a little better.
All right, 5th time in your career that you've hit home runs from both sides of the plate in the same game. When you looked at the first home run, describe that a little bit if you can.
Well, I got a changeup up in the zone, and I did a lot of good with pitches up in the zone, and I just want to stay hard, and they've been kind of walking Sheffield, and I felt a little embarrassed.
And then the second one?
Well, the second one was a fastball in, tough pitch, but I kept my hands in and drove it out.
Okay, Kevin Brown retired 15 of the last 17 men. Did you see him getting more and more confident as the game went on?
Yeah, I thought so. We got him the runs, and he seemed like he calmed down and did a lot of good pitches. Staying in the zone, down in the zone, and got a lot of ground ball outs.
How would you sum up this whole trip here?
Outstanding. It's a great experience, and it's been fun, and the fans been unbelievable.
The fans are a little different. I love that they clap for everybody. They don't boo anybody, and they're all here as you're getting your award and waiting for Matsui.
I know, this is unbelievable. I'm glad that the MVP of the series, Matsui, and he deserves.
You can describe what you were feeling as all those people were standing up and cheering for you with that home run and just holding up that trophy.
ホームランも打って皆さんの歓声も聞いて、それから最後にねこの試合でトロフィーをね腕に持ってその感想などを聞かせてください。
いやもうそれは僕にとってはね最高に幸せだったし、もうね最高の一瞬だったしね。もう忘れられない出来事になったんじゃないかなと思いますけど。
Yeah, I mean, it was one of the greatest feelings I had, probably one of the greatest moments too, and I don't think I'll ever forget that feeling.
What about having your parents sitting there and watching that performance? That really had to make your heart feel full.
それからご両親も、今日ご観戦されててね、もうさらにもう本当にもうとても感情的になったんじゃないですか、松井さん。
そうですね。まあもちろんね、もう僕以上に多分喜んでるんじゃないかなと思うし、またね、そういう家族や友達はね、そういうみんなの前で打てて、すごい嬉しいです。
Yeah, I think they were happier than myself, and just to be able to play like that in front of my family and my friends, I'm just happy.
Describe the home run. What did you hit, and what were you looking for, and what did you get?
ホームランを打った打席を教えてください。どういう球を待ってたか、それからどういう球を実際に打ったか。
ワンアウトランナー一塁という場面だったんで、しっかりね、攻撃のその作戦としてはね、何でもそのエンドランだとか何でもあるから、とりあえずそのサインとかね、しっかり見て、で自分の中では、強く打てるボールのストレート系を待ってて、実際その、ね、真ん中からちょっとアウトコースの、ストレートを打ったっていう、そんな感じですね。
Yeah, basically the situation was 1 out, run on first, and I just made sure that I got the right sign, and what I was basically looking for was fastball that I can hit hard, and the actual pitch that I hit was pretty much a fastball lit on the outside.
Okay, the MVP award, that trophy right there. What does that make you feel like standing up in front of that crowd who stayed there to wait to cheer for you at the end?
最後にねこのトロフィーをいただいて、でそれからね皆さんのファンの方々ね、特にもう最後まで松井さんをねずっと見送ったファンの前でこうやってトロフィーを持ってたことはどう思いますか？
いやもうそれはね僕にとってもね感動的な瞬間だったし、またねファンの皆さんも喜んでくれたのが また僕にとってすごい嬉しかったし、ね、一生の宝物になるんじゃないかなと思います。
Yes, I mean, for me, it was very heartfelt, and I think for the fans too, likewise. And you know, I think it was just, it's going to be a moment that I don't think I'll ever forget.
Arigato.
どういたしまして、ありがとう。Thank you.
Yeah, that's the man of the hour. And now it's time for the Samsung Joe Torre report. Before that, we go back to Tokyo. Joe Torre with Susan.
A little bit better than last night, yes?
No, a lot better. That was great. And Kevin Brown was great. You know, we fell behind 1-0, and, you know, you don't like that. But the way I look at it, trying to put a positive spin on it, is we were winning last night a couple of different times, and it didn't turn out all right. I think once Tony Clark hit the home run, it just seemed to sort of relax everybody.
And did it relax Kevin Brown? He relaxed enough to get 15 of the last 17. What changed with him? Was it the score? Was he finding his stuff?
Yeah, he didn't think he had very good stuff tonight, and I think he was trying to manufacture. But when we got the 5-1 lead, we chatted a little bit after the game. He felt that he was, you know, it gave him the license to do certain things and maybe throw more strikes and not try to be as careful that, you know, when he feels he has his good stuff, he'll do more challenging. But again, his pitch count was great, and we almost, in fact, I sent Mel back to see if he just didn't want to bother going out for the 7th when we scored those last 4 runs. But he wanted to go out for the 7th inning. He's a trooper. I love it, and you know, it was a big game for him and us.
All right, we'll talk about the offense. Let's start, obviously, with Matsui. Could you have scripted what happened today any better?
No. I mean, this is his country, basically, and you know who you want starring in the movie. But Godzilla returned, and you know, he did his thing. He has such calm. You know, the home run, the single that gave us the first run. And he just wears the mantle very elegantly, I think.
What about Posada? That's the 5th time in his career he's hit home runs from both sides of the plate in the same game.
Well, Georgie, he was fighting himself. He was fighting himself and was down on himself, come in, got angry with some at-bats he had. Gary Tuck went over and had a little chat with him. And I didn't ask Gary what he said. The only thing I did was shake his hand when he hit the 3-run homer. You know, he really has a lot of admiration for Gary, and you know, I have a sense that you know, Georgie just had a much more relaxed at bat after that.
What about some other people? Lofton, did you like the way he was swinging the bat a little bit better? And obviously a stolen base. Does maybe he get back in that leadoff spot?
Well, I got a few days to think about it, but I know I like what I see. I mean, he certainly has had very, very good at bats. And the thing I like probably most of all is the fact that he's getting on top of the ball, hitting it the other way. You know, that keeps that front shoulder from flying out and hitting a lot of balls in the air. So you know, Kenny to me right now is a lot different hitter than he was a week ago.
A-Rod was talking yesterday about how he wanted to get off to a fast start. Everybody does when they come over here. What do you see with him at the plate?
No, nothing now. I think he's fine. The last 2 at-bats, even though he made outs, the line drive to right field and the ball to deep center, I thought were outstanding. I thought his bat had a lot of life in it. You know, we'll have to wait now a couple of days to see if it carries over, but I have a sense the last couple of at-bats are a lot different.
Any way you can describe and sum up this whole few days here?
Susan, you've been here with us, and it's a very special place. I mean, I asked Mariano, have you ever heard anybody go, ooh, when you throw a ball like, well, he was just throwing at 89, I think, the one. It's a very special place, and baseball's been my life. And to come someplace where they just love their baseball and love the players, and I thought they were very, sure, they rooted for us because of Matsui, but I thought they were just legitimate for both sides, and there was a lot of passion in this country while we were here, and you know, I would certainly come back here.
It was pretty impressive tonight, clicking on all cylinders. Are you pressing a little bit right now?
No, I'm not pressing. It's just good to get the first 2 games out of the way. You know, the bad news is I didn't get any hits. The good news is I am feeling a lot more comfortable and take the last 2 at-bats and take them into Game 3.
Watching everybody get their licks out there, I mean, you got to be thinking, where's mine?
Well, there's always one, I guess, guinea pig that takes it for the team, and I guess that was me today. Thought I had a grand slam there, but didn't catch it, I guess, good enough.
What could you say about Matsui's performance stepping up in his home country?
Pretty unbelievable. I mean, pretty awesome. The fact that he can be, that cool under pressure in front of all his fans who obviously wanted a big performance out of him. And for him to give it to him, it was pretty magical out there for him.
It's been an exciting week here. Are you looking forward to going home?
No question. I think, you know, mission accomplished here as far as the state of the game. We got one. Bronny threw a great game, and the boys swung the bats extremely well, and hopefully get some rest and get ready for Game 3.